People want to feel known.
Really building technology fast.
The lack of personalization and consumer trust cost businesses $756 billion last year.
Email itself is going to evolve into something very different.
Automation.
Messenger and SMS. Business process optimization.
Customer experience.
Inventory planning.
Be more visual, be more tactile.
What's the future of e-commerce?
The heyday's just beginning.
Hello. Here I am again. I'm Derek Haney, your host for day 2 of the Future of E-commerce for fashion and apparel brands. If you can hear me, say something in chat. I need some confirmation that my mic is working all right. You don't want to no talk me all day or have an issue like that. That would be bad. If you missed day 1, you can go back and watch the whole thing right now, or you can wait and we're going to slice and dice every single session into its original replay. Then you'll be able to find everything at fashion21.ecommercetech.io and watch the replays as you prefer to watch them on demand. You may also see some of my comments that just came in here. If you are looking for the show notes, it's ecomtech.link/fashion-21-show notes. You can bookmark that page. My team is working hard to take notes of every single session that we do. And then you can kind of shortcut your way to some new tactics, new tools, new ideas, and stuff like that. I'm really excited for today. Day one was jam-packed with amazing stuff, and day two is just the same. We've got merchant interviews. We've got more technology showcases that I think are going to blow your mind, and it's just going to be a good time. So I hope you're settling in here. It's a little bit shorter than yesterday. About 3.5 hours is how long we'll be here today. And of course, if you do need to hop in and out, you will be able to do that. I'll be here, just pretending like you're still watching. All right, before we get into it, I have to give a shout out to our sponsors, our main sponsors for this event. If you didn't see their sessions yesterday, highly recommend you go back and watch them. You will learn a few things. Let's start with Gorgias, the help desk for e-commerce. This is one of the hottest, fastest growing startups in Silicon Valley right now, and there's a reason for it. They put AI into customer service and made it for e-commerce. How cool is that? So if you're on Shopify, Magento, and I think they've got WooCommerce and a few others now, it is going to be it's going to be a much better solution than a lot of major providers out there. There are some competitive help desks in the space, but really when you take this machine learning component into it, it's going to be tough for anybody to beat Gorgias as a customer service help desk for the foreseeable future. So if you're on another help desk, if you're on Zendesk, it is probably going to save you money to switch over. Okay, that was a long pitch on Gorgias. They are my favorites. LTV Plus, once you've got the help desk set up, you need the team to do it. LTV Plus can be the customer service agents for you. They also can train your agents or help you with your business processes so that your agents are performing the best they can. They can help you with a live chat strategy. They can help you with a retention-oriented strategy, even a discounting strategy through customer service and so forth. And then once you've got that in place, now you can have a truly positive customer experience. So it's time to layer in messenger marketing with the team over at Recart. They are the best-in-class, dedicated messenger marketing service for e-commerce. You can change around your Facebook ad campaigns to send people to messenger flows. People engage with the messenger flows. It's easier to get the email address. We saw yesterday you can click to send an email address. You don't have to type it in. This is huge, especially on mobile. People don't want to do those things, but they do want to answer a few questions, engage with you. And we're going to see in a second from Savvy how answering a few questions can be really good for engaging a customer. And so Recart brings that experience into the messenger world, and it's really a great way to increase conversion rate, as well as the abandoned cart messenger campaigns, which are just like icing on the cake for your abandoned cart sequences and increasing that. Okay, that's the sponsors. I guess I'll plug one thing for myself really quick. We launched this e-commerce technology landscape for Shopify merchants. If you didn't hear me talk about it yesterday, you can head on over to this link. I'll share it with you guys in chat. Download this thing. Take a look at it. Tell me what you think. A lot of merchants are downloading this, printing it out. They actually were I was in a meeting and a merchant showed it to me printed out in black and white. And I was like, oh, we got to improve the black and white version of this. So long story short, yeah, if you want it, it's yours. I've already got your email address if you're watching this event, so it doesn't hurt to download this thing. Anyways, and then because Chloe was so amazing yesterday, I wanted to show you how many episodes Chloe has done in fashion and apparel. Just take a look at this list. So if you're not following her podcast, if you haven't bought any of her books, at least subscribe to the newsletter and listen to some of these episodes. They are going to be extremely helpful for you. I'm sure of it. All right, I think that's it. I'm ready to bring in Nurit. Let me take this off. Nurit, are you ready?
I am. Thank you, Derek.
Thanks for hanging in there with me through my opening lines and all that stuff. How's it going?
Going great. Thank you. How are you?
Doing good as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing Savvy in action. I'll let you just introduce yourself and take it away. I think that'll be the best way is for me to get out of here.
Thank you.
And I'll give you this.
Hi, my name is Nurit, and I'm the CPO, Chief Product Officer of a startup called Scales. And our main product is Style Me Savvy, or Savvy, which is basically expert advice for fashion and apparel. I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is my second fashion tech startup, and I'm happy to be with you here today and tell you a little bit more about Savvy. Okay, so the title was Eliminate Buyer's Remorse. And I think in fashion especially, buyer's remorse is a product of women not knowing a lot of things about styling and not having all that human support that they're used to in real life. So as the computers become more and more part of our life, and we become more computerized with our phones in our hands 24/7, basically computers also need to become human. And the way to make computers human is to allow for interfaces like conversational commerce, and also provide an augmented intelligence possibility, which will bridge AI. So AI is great, but it's not there yet. And we all get to this point where we talk to a chatbot and we realize it's done its share. Its intelligence is over, and that is why we believe in a philosophy of augmented intelligence, where we combine AI with real human interactions and machine learning. And basically what Savvy does is that it provides expert advice for the decision-making process. So instead of meeting the user only in customer service after they have acquired something, we actually meet them when they're trying to make a decision browsing, which really affects the conversion and also returns, as an expert helps them get awareness about their body, about their shape, about what will fit them right. So the way Savvy works is basically it is a chatbot combined with a journey that brings you together with a real life expert. The users build their profiles with the help of a virtual stylist. So basically the bot will collect the data, process it, and serve it to a real life stylist for the woman to first complete a style profile, which will gain awareness and understanding on her body, on her colors, and on her personal style. What is her personal style? Through conversational AI and real life interaction. So let's see a demo of the product.
Because balance is everything, though, all we have to do is tone down our upper half.
So basically, after the stylist gets matched with the user based on proximity algorithms of reasons that we believe that she is an adequate stylist for the user, she then goes ahead to create with the user a style profile, and also to then provide full outfits that take into consideration everything that they learned together about her body, about her style, and about the colors that she prefers, and will also make her pop, undertones and stuff. So we already have an amazing, fast-growing network of professional stylists that work on our platform, and we can either provide them, or we can also onboard the brand's store assistants or whoever is most suitable for them to represent and buy looks from their staff. The stylist, on the other hand, will basically receive the tasks, but using AI, she can respond to a task in less than 3 minutes, which is 10 times faster than what it would take her to do without AI. Plus, we also queue and let her know that women are waiting for her advice. Here's a demo of the Stylist platform. So the stylist has basically can log in anytime, anywhere through her phone and respond to user requests in less than 3 minutes. The stylist will respond to a customer task as it comes in, and stylist can provide video response and actually also chat, but in a very constructive way within the task itself. She can then go ahead and build full outfits. And using augmented intelligence, we basically allow her to give her value without having to do all of the business management around it of bringing, acquiring the clients and charging, an amount that is basically not cost effective. Through the conversational element of our solution, we basically gather data that is then processed and served to the stylist in a way that is very easy to understand and helps her arrive to decision-making faster. So how do we actually do it? So if you take the same woman before and after styling, what we do is we would collect, we already have collected data from hundreds of thousands of users. The raw data is then brought into clusters. So we can understand from the chat that she is basically a young mom that's career-oriented. She doesn't feel very confident. Her shape is an inverted triangle, and she has a long torso. Through the clustering of the data into categories, we can then implement styling rules. We have already over 745 styling rules that we have collected that helps us translate the data in the clusters into garments. For example, if I am a young mom, I want to accessorize at work to show my differentiator. Or if I am career-oriented, I think if you wear a blazer, you will look more professional. Or if I am not confident, also wear clothes that will make you feel more professional. For example, if you are an inverted triangle body shape, you should wear take the attention of the eye to your lower half. And basically, for example, here, wear pants with prints to draw attention. We then go to the catalog that is all tagged with metadata that can help us translate. So for example, the fact that there's a print is an output attribute of the rule for an inverted triangle, wear print on your trousers. And this together constructs an outfit also based on the logic of what constructs an outfit. So basically there would be where you're going to wear it, but also what is the interest piece, what is the basic piece, how are we going to accessorize the look. Integrating Savvy into any e-commerce shop is extremely easy. It's basically, we white label the platform in order to provide any shop the possibility to offer a subscription model. So basically, we can provide both the stylist and the technology, plug into your existing catalog, tag it, and then basically start immediately providing a subscription model that will also ensure lifetime value. Once you have all this data on your clients, it will also help in your buying process, and really very insightful for the people in your funnel that never make it to checkout. So if you would like, you can try it yourself. Basically, you can download the app, Style Me Savvy, both on iOS and Android. Here's a QR code to scan. And please let me know if there are any questions.
I've got questions for you, and we've got actually a little bit of time before our next session. So we're going to hang out and chat about this. I really want to know what inspired you to build this, and your core technology scales.io, right? Is that what it is? This it's a conversational bot for every kind of angle of maybe business or e-commerce, we could say. Why did you go in the fashion direction as opposed to a small business or SaaS or probably a dozen other places? You must have done some sort of analysis here.
Yeah, of course we have. Well, first, yes, Scales.io basically is a technology that is basically separate than the vertical. But we believe that, and you can see it also from a lot of media groups in Facebook, that there are expert advice. People are seeking expert advice on e-commerce, and word of mouth is extremely strong. But why have word of mouth from anyone where you can actually have it from a professional? And also personalization, we are all used to personalization working with AI, but why not have it from a real life interaction with an expert? And the reason we chose fashion is because we believe there is first a real need. We have surveyed hundreds of thousands of American women, and the amount that know the basics for styling rules, for example, the simple question as, what is my body type? Is one that most women cannot answer. They don't even know that there is a body type and that styling is based on this theory. Also, style. When you ask a woman, what is your style? Seldom can she respond. And if she can, she probably will be on our stylist platform helping other women.
I get what you're saying. So the 1% of women that understand their style really well are the stylists. They're in the industry or something like that.
Yes, and another reason we went for fashion is because it's really very hard to make a decision on apparel. I mean, it's much easier to buy electronics or cosmetics, but the fear, the difficulty of fitting, and I know that there are a lot of startups that try and solve this through VR. I think because at the end of the day, it's not objective. The way I feel about my body has nothing to do with my body. It has to do with my perception of myself. And that's why I don't think VR would solve it, as well as, augmented intelligence that actually will take into account also, things that are not measurable. They're emotional.
So you've got the stylist on the platform today. Is the goal to eliminate their role and have AI take that role over?
Not at all. Not at all. I think let's be honest, AI is not there. Definitely not when it comes to emotional support, to empowerment. We still need that human touch, but technology can allow to provide it at a much lower cost. I don't need to pay $250 an hour for a professional style. I mean, I can. It would be great if I was a celeb, but most women can't afford to have a personal stylist. But why shouldn't they have the awareness and the emotional support if they can get it for $19.99 a month?
Yeah, and so let's talk about that cost of the stylist. I think, and in my opening line, we talked about the value of live chat and having support agents there in real time. And certainly, I believe that in the next few years, we'll have this kind of emergence of what I call the sales department, which is separate from customer service, and it does have experts and professionals at your fingertips. But that's scary for some businesses, because it's like, how does this impact margin? So what have you seen in terms of its impact on margin in a positive way, as in, increasing conversion rate, increasing lifetime value, and then let's speak to the cost side of it and how those two, dynamics work, and when they might work for some businesses and when they might not work for others.
Well, I think that the secret for that is efficiency. Okay, when I am a personal stylist and I charge $250 an hour, I basically, I need to market my business. I need to acquire leads. I need to set an appointment. I need to do small talk. I need to agree on a price. I need, there's all this stuff that I do.
A lot of proving yourself over and over again, I'd imagine.
Which is why I need to charge $250 an hour to make a living. Okay, but with our technology, basically, we can take that creative essence, that 2 cents that you go to a professional for, and she can basically do it in 3 minutes. Now, we have other stylist platforms that employ stylists, and the going rate, with 5 tasks, you're basically there.
I like it. So let's talk about these other. So you're in a way you're serving end customers, but in a way you're making it easier for stylists to maybe. I don't want to say they're getting clients because there's still a separation there, but they're
getting clients. They're completely exposed. They're completely in the front. We link to their Instagram. They're out there. They're not masked in any way or form. We are creating real life relationships. If we're not going to bring value, it's same as Airbnb. Yeah, you can bypass the platform, but you wouldn't because it's good.
Yeah,
and you want to keep working with them. So yeah, they're completely exposed, the stylist.
I like that a lot. So, well, I want to keep going deeper into conversion rate, but I have this burning question about just because I was in the beauty industry, are you going to take this to the beauty industry or what? Because I see beauty conferences being really valuable.
It's so good for so many industries. I agree that the beauty industry would be perfect for this. And I think at the end of the day, we first have to perfect this vertical, and we're on our way to doing so, and then we can expand.
Yeah, I imagine launching each vertical is quite a challenge. It's a completely new platform, new structure, and everything like that. So
actually, the core technology is agnostic to the vertical, but the knowledge, it requires big data. It requires a lot of users.
Now, I could see this technology also being helpful in retail. What are your thoughts on improving the retail experience with some component of this technology? Maybe not today, but tell me about a vision on it.
You mean the brick and mortar retail?
Yeah.
Oh my God, don't get me started on that. Yes, I definitely think that the brick and mortar retail needs to offer experiences that use technology in order to justify, the experience, the shop experience. Just like we're still queuing at the till. Come on, it's not moving very fast. But yes, I believe this technology could be just as good for the, for the retail space as it is for the virtual space.
Do you think, now you mentioned the virtual reality not really being as relevant. I see retail, virtual reality, a virtual assistant mixed with a real person. That's like the stack, your retail technology stack, Does that seem plausible?
Oh, I'm sure yes. But I still think it will take a very long time before we can completely remove the human component. I don't think we're there in this decade. I don't think it will be there, but that's because I've seen what we've done in one decade. I've been around. So I don't see it happening that fast.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you're right. And I think even if the technology is there and changes quickly, it's actually the humans that are going to be late to adopt. All right, so back to the conversion rate really quick. What are you seeing? So, and also tell me a little bit more about the cost, because we talked about installing the tool on the site, and I think a lot of brands right now might be really interested in at least learning more. So walk me through the cost, and then how much money am I going to make? How does it increase lifetime value, conversion rate, all those things?
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the process. Basically, the process, it's a very, very simple implementation, also almost as simple as you would implement, the messenger chat bubble on your e-commerce website. What requires a little bit of work is actually the tagging of the catalog, because we need to go into the brand's catalog and really make it as smart as our styling algorithm.
I see.
Which requires some smart tagging and
You kind of need a designer and an e-commerce manager and your team.
Well, no, we just need the catalog itself, but it needs a little bit of setup. That's the only setup, basically.
Okay.
And then we can go. I'd rather not talk about prices because it really varies based on the catalog size, but I can definitely talk about the value. We really can increase conversions, but especially I think it's because all of the doubt factor is being removed, plus the fact that my profile is there waiting for me, and that the algorithm already can keep suggesting things for me based on everything we've learned with the smart tagging of the things that I've liked before. It's just it's basically an experience that is brand new and really personalized, not just personalized based on browsing. It's personalized based on expert knowledge, and that's a whole new ball game. Nobody offers that today, and I think that in itself will create the stickiness, the fact that they really know me. It's not just that they know my taste. Somebody's put a stamp of expertise on the fact that I'm an inverted triangle and I need to focus on directing somebody's eye to my bottom half. Nobody offers that today.
I see. Yeah. And can I tie those data points into my Klaviyo Omnisend account so that I can send personalized emails or something along those lines?
Actually, you can send personalized outfit even to users that don't have profiles, as long as we start the
process.
more you have, yeah. So even people who didn't go into that, you can already start guessing, and send full outfits, not just items.
I love it.
Your personalized communication can become a lot more valuable.
So there is a tool called Caro Brand Partnerships. A lot of brands here might be selling a jean jacket. Hey, Leslie, I see you in the green room. And they might be thinking, people don't just wear jackets, they wear shirts, they wear pants, but I don't want to sell those. They wear berets. I don't want to sell those things. This tool called Caro Brand Partnerships, if you're on Shopify, it allows you to take a partner's product, such as their really nice silk scarves, and put it on your store and sell it. So when you talk about shopping the look, I'd imagine some brands don't have the full look for sale. So I feel like if you can bring in these kind of partner products, then the stylist can actually say, oh, you know what? Yeah, these 3 things are great in this store. Let's bring in these 4 from the other store. And then you've got this bundled thing and you can check out in one place. So I think there's really a lot that can be explored there in order for cross-selling, upselling, cross-promoting. And then, of course, that allows 2 different brands to drive traffic and customers between each other in a way that benefits the customer and the brand. So this is, I think that there's still a lot of opportunity. I think what a tool like yours does is introduce new ideas to merchants that are going to require entire rework of their strategy in some ways. It can be simple, of course, but I think it's we have to rethink the customer experience. We have to rethink our product lines. We have to rethink our sales strategy, essentially. We rethink our advertising strategy, given that we can offer a personalized fit. And then, of course, we talked about it yesterday. Now we have to rethink our supply chain because we have these new data points and we have to buy products that fit our customers instead of, and instead of buying products that don't fit our customers. So Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nurit, for your time. I really love the technology. Love to see how it's going. And for everybody watching, we've got the link to savvy.style here in chat. Go check them out, and really you should be considering installing this on your site, testing out the conversational AI, and getting stylists to help your customers find the right products. Thanks again, Nurit.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving right into it with Leslie. Are you ready, Leslie? All right, come on in. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Derek? Good to see your face.
Yeah, it's been a while. So yesterday's opening keynote, apparently Camilla was wearing a Venom jacket. So
Camilla she's our girl. She was actually one of our first customers. I think we met at a pitch event quite a while ago, and she was like an instant fan. So shout out back to Camilla. Savitude is awesome. She's doing great things with that business.
Yeah, it was a great way to start the show. So for everybody that doesn't know Leslie Fong of Venom, tell us about this really awesome, like cool brand that you started and have. We could even, maybe I'll screen share the website, but you get it started and I'll show people.
Yeah, definitely screen share the website. I will take all the traffic that I can get. So yeah, Venom was founded in 2018. It is a digitally native fashion brand. That's always been my background. I've done brand marketing for fashion companies in the Bay Area for basically my entire career. But a few years ago, I decided that I really wanted to do it for myself. I definitely have like a creative side and also a very business-minded side, and I just wasn't stretching my creative muscles enough working for other companies. So founded Venom on the principles of genderless fashion. So we really wanted to develop a denim jacket. That's our exclusive product type. We really wanted to develop a product that did not need any sort of gender labels, and it's the perfect style of product to really do that with. I mean, denim jackets are popular on a global scale, and you see people like borrowing their boyfriend's jacket when they were a girl, or like not even identifying with certain gender all the time. So we really wanted to develop styles that were a little bit more oversized, a little bit more streetwear minded, and could fit and flatter more body types regardless of gender.
Look at this
also
one right
really
here.
committed.
It's so cool.
Yeah, this one, we'll talk about it in a minute too. This is something that we launched. I think, when did we speak last? In like
in August-ish, maybe something like that.
Okay. So yeah, some things have happened since we last talked. But yes, this is one of them. We also launched a new collection called Atelier. It is completely, the objective was not to sell these really insane, really couture versions of our denim jackets. It was to get press attention, and it was successful. It was all about just creating these crazy, one of a kind, really experimental denim jackets, and seeing what stylists would bite, and if we could get a little bit of the media to see the innovation there, and pay attention. So yeah, that happened too.
I love
But
it.
yeah, for anybody that doesn't know us,
so cool. I'll let you go. I have questions though, but keep going.
Well, that's it. Venom we're all about customizable denim jackets at the end of the day. And we also make all of our products out of liability denim, which is essentially dead stock. And that's really important to us as well, is that we're making it as ethically and sustainably as possible. I don't call Venom a sustainable brand. I don't like using that word unless you can say it with truth and authenticity, but we do just try to make our products a better, smarter, more efficient way that's more mindful of the environment.
So definitely walk me through that process. How do you source this it's secondhand denim, and how did you, because we've talked about it before, but for those listening today, how did you get this supply chain situation sorted out? This sounds like a really big struggle.
Yeah, it's you got to have some industry knowledge, and that's where my co-founder Casey comes in. She is a natural born denim head, always has been. She cut her teeth at Levi's for 4 years, and she's done denim development for other brands also in California and the Bay Area specifically. So I could not have founded or launched or progressed this company without Casey's connections and without her knowledge of denim production. So right out the gate, we already had relationships with companies that are mostly based down in LA, and they're sometimes referred to as jobbers. And essentially what they do is they act as middlemen between really, really big denim production companies, Levi's included, but also other brands such as like Helmut Lang, for example. I mean, you name it, frame denim, whatever it is. Sometimes these companies produce denim that they don't end up using at all. And let's say they have, I don't know, a factory in the United States, a factory in Vietnam, and one in, I don't know, Turkey or something like that. If they don't end up using the denim that they produce in, we'll say, the United States, it actually becomes more expensive for them to ship that back to Vietnam, where they might be working on a specific line. So that product ends up just sitting in a warehouse unused. And so what they do is they sell it to companies like that are smaller, like Venom. And that way we're not trying to transport all this product back and forth between countries, using up a lot of fuel, using up a lot of resources. And it's quality stuff. There just might be flaws sometimes that we cut around.
Okay. So walk me through your manufacturing process. So you've got this secondhand denim that's still very high quality, essentially unused, and it's in the United States. So you're manufacturing in the United States. How did you get manufacturing set up? Did you make these yourself? Like,
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So the way that we produce our denim jackets is about 90% to completion. We work with an amazing denim factory in San Francisco, which is pretty rare. But seeing as how San Francisco is a denim capital, especially with Levi's being based there, there are still factories that produce small denim lines in the city. So our factory takes this liability fabric and they produce what we call shell jackets. This is basically a denim jacket in one of our 5 washes or one of our 2 lengths. That's almost complete, but it doesn't have the buttons. It doesn't have any sort of bells or whistles on it yet. It's mostly just like a blank canvas. So we have those produced, and that's what those factories are delivering to our little studio also in the Bay Area. And when people place an order for a custom denim jacket, or what we refer to as like a ready-made jacket, which is just a pre-designed style, then we make the jackets to order and we do the hand finishing in person in our studio. We apply the buttons, we apply a foil, for example, which is one of the styles that we're known for. We make all of it basically by hand and pack it up and ship it to our customers. And that really helps reduce inventory risk. It helps reduce returns. It allows people to also participate in the design of their jacket, which therefore makes them value the product more. So yeah, it's almost like every jacket has a unique sort of fingerprint. No 2 foil jackets are exactly the same.
And it sounds like you maybe had some learnings here. You said, reducing inventory risk. Was there any points in the history of the company where it wasn't as smoothly operated and you had to learn this by trial by fire?
It's funny. I knew that inventory risk was already a possibility just by working for other companies. So I actually built the model for Venom based off of this possibility before we even had to make any of those mistakes. So that was always in mind. So no, I did not have to make any mistakes with regards to inventory risk with Venom, but I definitely had to do it with some of the brands that I've worked for in the past. And part of Venom's model was to mitigate that possible risk.
I gotcha. So let's talk about marketing. Can't have a conversation with me without talking about marketing, right? First there was this new product that we were talking about launching, which was subscription patches, and you had been bringing in some niche artists and stuff like that. How did this go? How did this launch go? And where is it at today?
Yeah, for sure. I'll insert a disclaimer here. I am not necessarily a model citizen for how to run a perfectly overnight successful e-commerce fashion business.
This is totally fine. That's why we're here. I just want to talk it through.
Your audience can probably learn from my experiences, especially on this one. So yeah, we did in I think it was around August, actually, right after we last spoke. We really wanted to test out the subscription model because that's the dream, right? Investors love to see recurring payment structures and newness, and so do business owners. So we did. We launched a monthly patch subscription, and when I say patch, we literally mean like an embroidered patch, the kind of thing that you might collect, or if you were in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, you would stick that on your uniform. So we started collaborating with different artists every month to co-design not only a patch, but sort of like an art packet, if you will. So there would be a limited edition patch design that was obviously the most desirable piece, but we would also include original artwork that made artwork a little bit more accessible. These were pretty cool artists. One of them included Jeremy Novi. He's really well known for his koi fish graffiti artwork, like all throughout the country. Kat Tat is another artist that we collaborated with. She is both a reality TV star, but also a super talented tattoo artist. And she collabed with us on a patch design. And for $25 a month, customers could basically get this patch in the mail, always a completely new concept, always a completely original idea, and basically start collecting these patches over time. We had two models with this too. It was $25 a month for that monthly subscription, or a slightly reduced annual subscription for $275. And we did all of this under Recharge.
Yeah.
That was the Shopify app integration that we used. Pros and cons with Recharge too. Definitely an intuitive interface. Really liked that. And very, very just the usability from a business owner's perspective with Recharge. It was a great product. That being said, the monthly patch subscription was not successful, but I do have some theories as to why. And with modifications, we might bring it back.
Here's one of the patches here. So walk me through the launch of it, and and maybe where the what were you, if you're willing to give me peak subscriber numbers and what you saw from people's reaction from getting the patches, applying the patches, and staying up to date with the subscription.
Yeah. So peak numbers, gosh, I can only really state that from an adoption rate from our existing customer base. We didn't have a ton of marketing budget to put behind this. So I think it was actually quite good. I think we had about 15% of our existing customer base adopted the patch subscription, and the majority of those customers did the annual subscription too, which was great because that's a 12-month commitment right there. Instead of depending on these, possibly cancellations of these monthly subscriptions. So that was a good indicator in the beginning. The challenges that we hit were that the patch idea was a very complementary product with our Denim Jacket Hero product, but it wasn't necessarily utilitarian. It's art. It's something collectible, but you can't really use it on a day-to-day basis. But it's great if you just love patches, and some people really do. They're obsessed with collecting patches, and this is the perfect kind of product for them. And it's more grown up, than something that you might get, like, again, when you're in Boy Scouts. It was a really cool concept, but it was not a simple product either. And so it was very labor intensive to source and communicate with and book and do contracts with these artists.
Yeah, you have to do one a month. So I'm imagining it could take 3 or 4 months to close one of these deals.
Exactly. Yeah. And then on top of that, we're doing all of this printed artwork. So you've got multiple assets that are included in these packages. Honestly, it could have been a standalone business. And it might still be. There are other companies that did this conceptually as well. They didn't work with like collaborative artists quite to the degree that we did. But it wasn't simple to produce, and it wasn't simple to understand. I mean, there's a lot of elements being pulled into that. So I think if you're a company like mine where you have just a traditionally sold product, but you also want to test out subscription, start off by doing just a really simple side product, so that you can test it out. Just, it's kind of like an MVP in the beginning. That's what I would definitely recommend. Also, it was a turbulent year last year. I don't know that launching a product, that isn't useful, that isn't, super necessary with regards to the epidemic, I think it kind of fell on deaf ears. So the timing just wasn't great. And that's why I say that, we might want to try it again.
I gotcha. It actually reminds me. I'll share a little story. I really wanted to launch the Future of E-commerce podcast about a year ago, and I have this grandiose plan. It's going to have multiple different, guests in every episode, and like a curated stream of content. And there'll be background music and sound effects and all these things. And then as I got into it, I realized, holy crap, there's no way I can do one episode a week. I'm like, I can barely do one episode a month. And so I'm really proud of what the podcast is, but we're like 7 episodes in after almost a year. So similar to what you're talking about is launching the subscription product. I think I overcommitted to the podcast with a grand plan, whereas I could have just done like a simple interview style podcast that I could have done and published in 30 minutes. But I had to do it up big, and I think the same thing. But I hope to revisit and be able to get back to that. So I feel you on, stretching resources too thin, as well as moving, getting your eyes off the prize a little bit, right? The core product and you need to sell more of that core product. And truth be told, on a monthly basis, it was at how many dollars a month?
$25 a month or $275 for the annual subscription, which is like, paying for 11 months and getting the 12th month free.
Yeah, and the annual subscription is equivocal to the cost of a jacket. So, if you can get one annual versus one jacket, it's almost the same amount of revenue coming into the company. But if you're looking at 1 month versus one jacket, you've got to sell 10 subscriptions for every jacket. And I know that you think, and I think that it is the right way to think of the model in the way that you built it is you sell the jacket first, and then the subscription is like an upsell. So it's added revenue to jacket purchases. But I'm sure, so going back to the topic of marketing, there, especially through COVID, there's been challenges with marketing and sales. Hit me with what happened during COVID and how things are going now, and what you've done or what you've changed.
Whew, yikes. Okay. So if we last spoke around June, then, we were in the thick of COVID, but we still didn't have like the full scope of exactly how it was going to impact the business. And we were all, listening to the news with bated breath. COVID, we had to furlough a couple of employees, which was really sad because our team is already very, very small to begin with. For a while, we had to evacuate the building in which our studio was located. And so new development was basically not possible. But fortunately, that didn't last terribly long. We experienced production delays of probably about 5 months. We had an open purchase order in March when things first started happening, and basically our factory very intelligently, I commend them for this, but they had to go down to way lower capacity than they had before. So that definitely slowed down our production line and made inventory replenishment really difficult. We did pivot into selling masks. Everybody asked that question, and we're still selling them. Yeah, we're still selling now.
I really love the masks. We were just looking at them here. I'll bring them up here in a second. They're because of the name is a play on Venom as well as denim. I think it just like it has this edgy style to it. Let me see if I can.
They're also reflective. So we've had a lot of people that, walk their dog at night or ride their bike or whatever. And it becomes also sort of like a safety mechanism as well.
I like it, while still remaining edgy, which is certainly something you can see that this brand never veers from.
It's funny. Some companies took a very reactive approach to masks as a whole. They recognized the imminent demand at the top of the pandemic, and they threw something together really quickly to capture sales at their highest point, which is smart. But not really by choice. Like, we had to take a really different approach. Last development, we kind of anticipated that people might not be happy with those designs from the beginning because of comfort or style or practicality. And so we put a lot of thought into our design and development, but we did launch them quite a bit later.
Is this one of yours?
Yes.
Awesome. Those are butterflies?
They are, yeah. That style is called Night Flight. And all of these are live on the website right now. We're actually going to launch a new collection of designs pretty soon here. We're not quite out of the woods yet. So, people are still buying masks. And so that's really helped keep us afloat throughout this time. We've had, mask sales, obviously, denim jacket sales trickling in, only just now starting to pick up now that people are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable and the seasons are changing. But really, it's grants that have gotten us along this whole time.
Okay, tell me about this. This is new.
Yeah. Your audience would love to hear about this because a lot of the listeners right now are probably eligible. So they weren't huge grants, but as everyone probably knows and has experienced for themselves, every single little dollar counts. And so we managed to get the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that forgivable grant amount of $3,000 at the top of the pandemic. We applied very early for the Facebook grant, and we got that. It gave us a couple grand in advertising dollars and also a couple grand in just straight up funding. We also received Global Giving's Red Backpack Fund. This is a fund that was founded by Sarah Blakely of Spanx, which is super awesome. Everybody, if you don't know her story, definitely check it out. But I know a lot of people are familiar with it at this point, especially thanks to Shark Tank. And then most recently, we just finished the voting period for the FedEx Small Business Grant. That's a really big one. Obviously, FedEx is an enormous company. And so they actually issue 15 different grants. And the biggest one is $50,000, which is pretty significant. And you don't have to be any sort of minority group in order to apply for that one. Minority groups has been a really big focus of grants lately, which I think is awesome. But the FedEx Small Business Grant is one that anybody can apply to. And so it's a fair game. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I think it'll be announced in maybe a week or so whether or not we made it as a finalist in that one.
It's going to help the business, but ultimately it won't help grow the business. It's really interesting. We're trying to launch our own grant as well. So we're going to spin off a nonprofit, gather a bunch of money from sponsors, and do, I think I've told you before, a female e-commerce founder grant. So hopefully that will be available for our listeners as well. Hopefully by the end of this year, it'll at least be up and running for applications. But yeah, it's quite a process. And as everyone just heard a minute ago, I'm prone to spreading myself too thin, but it's a dream that we're going to turn into a reality soon enough. So tell me, going back to the masks, I wanted to hear this grant tangent perhaps, but are masks helping you sell jackets? Have you seen a conversion rate from one to the other, or or is it the existing customers that are buying masks? And what, how might this fit into the new business model?
Yeah, it's funny. We did hope that we would see conversions on jackets as a result of masks. And that's actually not what we're seeing. We are getting new customers that are exclusively purchasing masks that might convert down the line. Again, now that people are feeling like there's a reason to get dressed up and go out, or that there soon will be, at least by the end of the year. But we're not seeing a ton of overlap. And, I have a few theories around this. One is just the price difference. There are completely different price points. Our masks are $8 a pop. I think the most expensive one that's a little bit more labor intensive is $12. Our jackets start at $295 and can go up to, the thousands, based on how one of a kind they are. So, that's a pretty different income level, if you will. But it's still growing our audience. The masks are great from just a promotional perspective. It's front and center right on your face, and we're not super blatant about the logo unless you literally bought our logo design. Yeah, but it's free advertising in a way. Yeah, so they've been helpful in that way. They're also a great handout kind of product. You can upsell them at checkout. You can also just give them away for free. They are great to give to like influencers, sponsors, gifting to partners, all of that kind of thing. It's a lot easier than handing over a $300 jacket. So they've been really useful in that regard. And we are still donating an N95 mask for every Venom mask sold. So ours are reusable and they're cloth. But we've been donating N95s to hospitals, to schools, to just basically any community in California that needs it, every time we sell a mask product.
That's great. That's amazing. You mentioned giving these masks to influencers. So what's been the influencer strategy? You clearly have a really cool product. I have a feeling there are people with large followings that would love to wear this and share this. How has influencer marketing gone for you? And maybe walk me through some successes and some failures.
Yeah. It's funny that the strategy for mask influencer outreach is kind of different than the denim jacket influencer outreach, again, because of price point or cost of goods in this case. But I'll start with the denim jacket outreach. We have been very specific about who we are able to give product to. It's because we're a small business. You know, if I could give out 1,000 denim jackets, I totally would. But we barely produce 1,000 denim jackets for each purchase order. So we try to establish really authentic relationships directly with some of these people rather than, say, going through a PR agency. We've tried both. So our PR agency, for example, reached out to, I think it was 5 East Coast based male influencers, all super cool, great style. But really what they were doing was asking sort of a favor from these people who they already had a relationship with, which was, we're going to send you a free Venom jacket and we really hope that you wear it in a post. And most of them committed to it and they did the post, but it lacked that authenticity. Meanwhile, I might start listening to a musician, Venom and music, very tied together, fashion and music, very tied together. So I might start listening to a new musician, really love their stuff. Maybe they're up and coming. I'll reach out to them directly and just say, hey, like, I love your sound. We're going to put you in one of our seasonal Venom mixtapes, which we also come out with on a quarterly basis. And we'll start a conversation. Oh yeah, they're great. They're great. They're all on Spotify. Yeah, and they're very indicative of the brand. A really fun thing to just give away for free. And so I've actually started talking to these musicians directly, and that's a much more authentic relationship. And you know, my favorite thing to do is make it their idea that we send them product. So rather than asking for a favor, rather than insisting that, you know, we send them a jacket really hoping that they wear it, instead it's like, get them to compliment us on our product line and say, oh, thanks so much. Do you want one? And suddenly the idea is theirs. And the commitment to following through on wearing that jacket, promoting that jacket, becoming a natural ambassador also becomes theirs. So that's been a lot more successful for us for the jackets. For the masks, I think that the key strategy there is just cast a really wide net. You know, it is not expensive to produce these masks. They have a great story behind them because we're donating the N95s. So contacting everyone from micro influencers to, you know, even the bigger ones and just saying, hey, we want to send this to you for free. Maybe you'll wear it, maybe you won't, but here you go. And we can do that at a much bigger volume than with the jackets, obviously. So when we were doing that the most, it was when we first launched the masks. And it's been pretty successful at getting more mask sales. And so we'll probably be doing more of that pretty soon here when we launch the new designs.
So, all right, going back to the mixtape. So it feels to me like mixtape, really cool fashion brand, and TikTok might go really well in hand. Have you been on TikTok?
Yes. So Venom has an account on TikTok. We are terrible about producing content, but we are also just kind of in an observation mode at the minute, trying to figure out like what type of content resonates with us. How can we start communicating with just other users? And then once we have the bandwidth, that's also been a really big challenge. You know, as I mentioned, we had to furlough a couple of employees at the beginning of this. Well, one of them was our social media content creator and manager. And so once we're able to get back into the swing of things, hopefully with this one final grant or maybe with a upswing in sales, then TikTok should be the focus for fashion. I'm learning about new brands on TikTok all the time. And so I don't see why we couldn't be one of those brands. But again, it goes, I hate this word because every marketer uses it, but it goes back to like authenticity. And on TikTok, authenticity is raw content. It doesn't have to be pretty. In fact, it shouldn't be.
Yeah, I agree with you. And yesterday in one of our sessions, the future of influencer marketing for fashion and apparel, we were talking about with Sarah from Socialite about using TikTok to drive Instagram subscribers. Then you've got the Instagram stories that they can swipe up and click on. So I thought that there was a interesting strategy there. And if you've already got the playlist, you've got your mixtape set up, you can incorporate that music with honestly, I don't even see it being influencers. I think it's got to be you, your team, showing how you make the jackets and just doing it in a fun, quirky way. Probably could get a lot of great attention there. But I can tell you're low on bandwidth, so I understand why I haven't invested into it. You got to focus on all 100 other things, right? So I'm
Right,
not on
Chris,
TikTok either.
we're keeping the lights on. Yeah. When you're in fashion, if you made it through this last year, that's its own form of progress in my mind. So, any of your listeners out there that, made it through last year, like, good for you. It's been really rough. But yes, I do think it's time to get back into the swing of creating more social content on a regular basis. So yeah, that's definitely going to be part of the strategy moving forward. I'm trying to be a little bit more open-minded to contractors for hire through platforms like Fiverr, for example. I've always been really averse to that because there's a lot of horror stories out there, but a lot of new talent going on there too. That's a lot more professional than it was, 1, 2, 3 years ago. So we might explore that and kind of do these packages for social content creation. And even if it's not content creation, maybe it doesn't hit the nail on the head when it comes to like getting the brand and the creative direction right. Still getting the engagement and the community management aspect of that from their services could work really well for us.
Yeah, I think the horror stories scare me as well. And I honestly do try to keep that curated short list of contractors and creators and agencies that I can trust to send merchants to. But even keeping my own short list is tough. And then those agencies are busy, or the consultant is booked up with all of their projects. And so I think there has to be a strategy behind this to vet the right people, right? Do you have a detailed like vetting process for something? You put an offer up on Fiverr, you get 130 responses. How do you find the right person?
Yeah, I use this strategy for literally everything that I do for Venom. So I don't put up a listing. I go and find the person that I want to work for me. And this goes for everything, whether it's, the future CFO of my company, or it's just somebody that's going to do social content creation for me for a week, is I go find the aesthetic, the quality of work, the communication style, which is hopefully something that you can see on these profiles on sites like Fiverr. And I reach out to them and say, hey, I want you to work for me. And it takes a ton of research. It takes a lot of bandwidth. And it sounds exhausting, I'm sure, and that's because it is. But I like that approach a lot better than just, kind of putting a listing out there and seeing who bites. And, if that first pass doesn't necessarily work, then I'll put the listing out there and see who bites. But typically it does, because when you reach out to somebody directly and say, hey, I picked you specifically for your talent, your skill set, and I want to give you money for that, then people tend to listen.
I like it a lot. This is, I think, great advice for anybody looking at Fiverr, Upwork, or other sites and thinking, how do I find talent here without becoming, I don't know what it is, a poster board for, dear sir, madam, here are my web services, which is, that email that I think I get about 3 a day still from just, that's the cost of having a domain these days.
Yeah, our email addresses are pretty easy to guess, I suppose. Yeah.
Eric says that he made it through the pandemic, which is great. So I think we're celebrating.
You go, Eric. Yeah. Shouts.
So I want to talk really quickly about partnership and retail relationships, because you heard me kind of talking about it right before we brought you on about like Caro brand partnerships as an opportunity. You sell one piece of the outfit, and I'm sure there are retail locations that would want to showcase this. It probably or you could do kind of, I think it's the bonobos style, which is like you can see it in the store, but you have to buy it online.
Mhm.
Have you experimented with any brand partnerships or retailers?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you asked that question because that is actually what our primary focus is for this year, especially while the weather is good. Again, because there's still uncertainty around COVID, we are trying to not commit too hard to any specific date in case that fluctuates, but we want to have a plan ready, plan A, plan B. So we love the bonobos model, which is essentially, it's not about conversions in store. It's about creating an experience in store and getting people familiar with their product quality and fit. And so the thing about bonobos is they invested tons of money into having dedicated retail locations for this exact purpose.
Yeah.
We don't really have that kind of budget, nor do we necessarily want to commit to having standalone shops. So we want to take that model, but bring it into more pop-up, temporary kinds of experiences. We are very particular about who we want to do that with. So before that fateful March of last year, or maybe even earlier, we were planning on doing this at music festivals. Again, music is super tied into our brand, and we have a lot of connections in the entertainment industry, particularly on the West Coast. So having presence at events like Coachella, like Outside Lands, and maybe even some of the smaller ones was going to be that pop-up strategy. And that definitely got put on hold. But now that Outside Lands Halloween, anybody? Yeah, that's October. So we can start thinking about that again. And so that's definitely a strategy. And then in terms of maybe less just like music festival events or temporary events like that, there are specific storefronts that we do want to have sort of pop-up experiences with. The ones that we're looking at are actually more overseas. So great example would be LNCC. They are pretty edgy, very fashion forward, multi-brand retailer based out of the UK, but they also have these really amazing storefronts, and they also have a dedicated conscious line that is all about introducing newer, smaller brands that have some sort of sustainable or ethical element to them. That's an excellent partner. And so those are the types of retailers that we want to get into bed with, for lack of a better phrase. But I am also thinking about like, how can we imitate that whole concept online, where it's about, digitally launching Venom into some sort of conscious story without having to go into an in-person experience. Because now that everyone has moved into online because of COVID, like a lot of people are here to stay. They've made that commitment to being digitally present. And so that will continue to be nurtured as well.
Yeah, and because of the customization of your product, that Caro brand partnership tool isn't going to work for placing at least the product sale on somebody else's site. You could probably put like a dummy product that is like couldn't be bought there, and then they could come over and purchase. But I'm sure that this is exploring both the digital and retail partnership and pop-up placements. I think it's really great. I do not like the idea of going international, because I feel like this is I think you got to start with regional trend and brand presence and then expand out. So LA, yes. San Francisco, yes. New York City, yes. And then kind of grow from there. And so I know that it sounds like a really good fit for retailers. So I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, but I know that, if you can grow those 3 cities, you've got major traction and an in to the rest of fashion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's not that we don't want to use the same strategy for retailers that are based here in the United States as well. It's just that what we were seeing over the last 365 days is more of those retailers closing than opening. And so it was hard to really target the right partners for that. But, Phoenix is rising from the ashes right now. And I do think that there is an, LNCC multi-brand retailer equivalent, probably down in LA or maybe over in New York, that we can use the same exact model with. And so that's the idea. And it's going to take a little bit of investment, but not like, a ton of budget. And again, that's why we're kind of focused on, getting these last couple of grants and then really focusing that money on creating those experiences and getting our name out there.
Love it. All right. We are at the end of our segment here. I want to know what is the number one piece of advice that you want to give to other e-commerce founders and merchants out there, especially fashion and apparel? What is it that you've learned through your journey with Venom that they should be taking away?
Ooh, okay. This is my favorite piece of advice to give that applies to pretty much anybody. You don't even have to be an entrepreneur or founder. But as the CEO of my company, I tend to be really trigger happy when it comes to making decisions. You tend to think of it as a good quality to be a really decisive person and to make quick moves and to always have an answer for your team or for your customers. But my piece of advice is actually going to be, if it's a big decision, sleep on it. Sleep on it. Just one night, whatever kind of decision you're trying to make for your business, whether it's should I partner with this company or should I use this service or should I invest in, A, B, or C, doesn't matter. Just give it a night to think about it, because so much can happen in just like a short 12 to 24 hour period that will help you come to a better, more educated conclusion. So,
Yeah,
take a minute to rest on your decisions. Yeah.
I'm the same way as you, and I was about to buy this really small website newsletter for in e-commerce, and I slept on it one day, and the next day I woke up and I was like, "How much am I paying per person on this list?" I was like,
Yeah.
"No, this is crazy." So I walked away from it, and I was like, I was ready to like send them money, and so I think at least one day. And when it comes to the purchase of e-commerce technology, since this is my specialty, since you're kind of leading me into it, the more lock-in on the technology, and of course, the larger your like annual cost of that SaaS tool or whatever it is, the more time you should spend thinking about that, vetting it, meaning demo, trial, etc., as well as comparing alternatives, because you will have costs associated with not, researching the alternatives, or even thinking of an alternative such as a spreadsheet, and making sure that it's the right time for the business to invest in an inventory management system or our next guest augmented reality tool or something like that. So take the time to do research, compare options, and make sure you've got the resource and the budget to invest in it for a technology tangent. Leslie, thank you so much. We love everything you're doing. It's great to catch up, and it's really great to see Venom surviving through a hard time. You're about to come out the other end of this, and I think there's going to be some major traction. I think there's going to be I think you're going to find that you've put yourself in a very lucky position. So you're going to be like, whoa, this influencer just like mentioned our jacket for no reason. Whoa, this brand is trying to get us in their store. I think that's right here on the horizon, combined with all the hard work that you've done just to be here today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Derek. And good luck to everybody. Just hang in there.
Awesome. All right, Leslie, talk to you later.
Bye.
We're moving right into our next session. We heard a little bit about some of the limitations of augmented and virtual reality in our opening session, but now we're going to see some of the innovations in 3D modeling and augmented reality that I honestly think can blow your mind in what we can do from getting a product that is a two-dimensional picture into the home of the consumer, essentially. So I'm going to bring Daniel on, and he's going to show us the magic. Daniel, how's it going? And
yeah, hello.
Hey, good to have you here. So if you want to share your screen, I will put it up here, and I will just let you tell us more about the technology that you've built. I got to see it in action recently, and it was just like yesterday, I had a few moments like this. It was just jaw-dropping what we can do. Especially, I think the coolest part of your technology, which I don't want to spoil it, is the reduction in cost and stress around 3D modeling that you're able to do. But yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself and take it away.
Yes, and thank you so much. Great to be here. We had a blackout in our neighborhood in Stockholm here in 20 minutes ago. So we are doing emergency solution with sharing 4G from our phones and having some mobile cameras. But it's all good. We managed it. But it was some,
it looks great. I couldn't even tell. So not to worry. I'm just surprised you have internet at all. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. It's been. Now we're here and everything is up and running. So, okay, I wanted to start just with a small background with what it is that we do. Can you hear me, Derek?
I can hear you. If you want to share your screen, I don't have that yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen here just in a minute. So, okay, share screen. Let's see.
Which application window?
Sorry, is it working now? The screen sharing?
Yes, I'm bringing it in now.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, it might be frozen actually. Here, I'm gonna.
Oops.
Now that we're full screen. Oh my gosh, it's so meta. If you can move over to another tab, I think it'll work a little better.
So if I do this,
don't close StreamYard, whatever you do. Yeah, here we are. This looks a lot better.
So I hope you can all see the 3D bag right now. That's I'm sharing. So what we have done over the last 4.5 years is developed a 3D scan.
We stressed out his internet. I can tell that it went out on us right as he was getting into it. I'm going to cover for Daniel, and hopefully we'll have him back in a second. I want to show this to you because I think it's really is great technology, and it's I'm sorry to hear that that the power is out in Stockholm. So I guess we don't have anybody from Stockholm listening in right now. It would probably be expected. So let me see if I can give you a little bit more of the technology. I know I won't be able to do as much justice as Daniel on this, but it is really important, and I think huge for fashion apparel merchants specifically, just because of the democratization of 3D modeling and augmented reality, meaning in the past, it would cost us thousands of dollars. You would need a firm. You would have to hire an agency to create 3D models, and then you would have to, upload them to the site using a proprietary software. So you need developers to integrate it into the site. And then what would you do? Would your customers have a good experience or not? Well, it kind of depends on the state of that technology, right? So what I wanted to show you today, and the reason we brought Bates in here, is because they've really solved this problem of first getting the model done. So this is a 3D model of a shoe. You can even see the underside of it. Check it out. How do you think they modeled this? Okay, so in the past, you had to send the shoe to somebody. They'd put it in this white background box, and they take like 12 pictures from every angle of the product, and then they'd stitch those pictures together. Now you can take 6 pictures with your iPhone on basically any background. Bates will automatically use machine learning to capture the essence of the product. I think they can even, and Daniel, if he was here, I would ask him, I think they even make the shoe, the underside of the shoe. So if you don't send any pictures of the underside, they'll just kind of, let's say, guess at it and create their own version of it. And then, of course, you can come back later and say, here's a picture of the underside. Can you put this into our 3D model? So it really can change. I know that they have a, is it demo dot? Let me see. No, maybe it's like store. I'm looking for the store site product demo. Maybe this is it. So it can change how you do 3D models. You no longer have to send products to people. You just need a few pictures. Maybe it's stored. I know they've got a store here. Let me try again. Store.bates.com. No, I will find it in just a second, gang. They have this. So he was showing the jacket. I think it's important to take a look at. Let's go here with this bag. How this looks in our, on us. And you can see how this could be interacted with on your site. So in your Shopify store, on your product detail page, you can put this as the primary image. They can play around with it, and they can have a full screen experience with it. And then, of course, they can add it to cart from that experience, which I think is absolutely huge. And then either seen increased conversion rates and increased retention. It drastically increases time on site. And the second coolest thing, let's say you're a glasses company, and this is where I did the demo with them. Daniel, you're back. I'll bring you in. I was just covering for you. I know that your internet is essentially out, so no worries. I'm just talking about the product and how I was about to go into the augmented reality side of things, but I can let you just take it away. Tell me what to do if you want to. I was looking for the demo store. Where do I go for that?
Okay, so sorry, you can hear me now, right?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you, and you're on screen.
So yeah, sorry about that. It's we're from the phones now, but this is gonna work now. So if you can hear me, all is good. Yes. So what I think is gonna be best now, it's I'm gonna send you, Derek, 3 links here, which you can showcase from your end, and it has instructions with everything. So what we do here is that we develop both a 3D scanning technology and an augmented reality solution. So I'm gonna showcase you our process when we have 3D scanned something and the result from this. And if you just give me a second here, I will post 3 links in the chats.
Perfect.
So if you show the first link, which is on top there, is the 3D leather bag, which is our...
Here it is, product.beta, so close. Yeah.
And the great thing with our 3D scanning technology is that we have, I mean, 3 years ago when we did a bag like this, it took almost a week to create in 3D. Now it takes around 120 seconds. So it takes only 2 minutes to get it up and running.
How many images do I need to send to you to get this done?
Around 4 or 5 from different angles.
I got you. Do I need to see every single corner of the product, or do you magically like stitch missing pieces together?
Yeah, so I mean, we take a look at the details of it and we create it, but it's all from 4 or 5 different angles, and you get a 3D product like this.
And what if does it have to be a white transparent background, or can I just send you any old photos in my garage?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be white background, but we require it to be from a camera which is just a regular camera. It doesn't require any special photos or anything like that.
That's so cool.
But not iPhone photos or
look at the lighting on this. You can actually see it reflecting, which is it's pretty cool. Yeah, keep going.
We've seen tremendous results with this, as most people have seen probably, is that everything is moving from 2D to 3D, and it's just a way better option for e-commerce companies to showcase their products. One thing is that you only need one product view, for example. Instead of scrolling between different angles, you can only have one view, and customers are able to experience a product as they would in real life. And the great thing is as well, this is a very lightweight 3D viewer that we have built, which we put up 3D product in, and it's easily plugged into any website. So it doesn't affect your overall website speed, and the file sizes are very small, but still very good in quality.
I love it. The second link for the 3D glasses wasn't working. Maybe I have to be on mobile. Is that?
No, so the link that I sent.
Yeah, the Azure Black.
Yes, that's actually that's the mobile version. Let me ask my colleague here if he can send. Eric, could you send the desktop version for?
Yeah. And you can either share it in the comments or send me an email directly, and I'll see if I can pull it up here.
Yes, great.
I know you guys are operating without any lights.
Yeah, the universe is working against us now. It's
it's totally
something for the history books. But
we also see this.
I will send you here just in a second the demo, which you can showcase with virtual try-on. Just give me a second.
I know we're hitting some technical difficulties. We might not be able to show everything we want, but I want you to talk to me about when should a merchant use this technology? Why should they use it? And then maybe even how much it costs and what kind of merchants do you want to be talking with today? Because I think people are starting to get a feel for this technology, and they can see how this might be applied to their business, but it'd be good to know more about Bates and how they might work with you.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to get in contact with all the companies selling sunglasses, shoes, handbags, or any product that you think that might be suitable to showcase in 3D. It's just amazing how many product categories this is useful for, and so there you can see there it's a 3D model of.
I'm going to turn off my camera here briefly so that I can allow this to work. Okay, I'm kind of excited. Give it a second to load.
Not sure what that have you.
I haven't seen this either before, but I think it's going to work. Sometimes it could interfere because the StreamYard has access to my camera, but I did turn it off, and so I think it has access here. I'm going to reload. I'm trying to give it enough time. No limit equals true. I know that this worked the other day, and I was totally thrilled. I posted a video on YouTube.
I'm happy to show anyone who's interested in virtual try-on later. Just shoot me an email or so I can send you demos here. It's as we said, some technical difficulties, but
yeah, it actually works really smoothly. I was just surprised that the glasses they stuck to my face. It was seeing my face. I was able to see the left side, the right side. There was even a reflection off of the lenses of like essentially fake light based on certain angles. It doesn't look like it's going to display today. Here, I'm just gonna.
We have some other demos here which might be easier for you. You get redirected to live website, which could give you.
Yeah. Who? If you want to throw out a customer name and we'll head to their site and try it on.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm trying to find it here at the same time. What can be done with it is that it's super easy to, as I said, plug into any e-commerce site, and it loads super fast. It's just some technical difficulties right now.
Yeah, this is because we're probably streaming or something like that, not an actual problem when it's on the site. I can vouch for it because I experienced it firsthand.
So yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that. And this is mobile enabled, where you can the link that you are showcasing right now.
I know what the problem is. It is absolutely because StreamYard is taking my camera. So I bet the link to the brand won't work for me either. But here, let me share this link. Is it okay if I share it in chat with everybody so that everybody can kind of try on the glasses?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Try on some virtual glasses right now. And I think this, will speak volumes to the people that try them on themselves. I'm going to challenge you, if you're in chat right now and you try these on, take a picture of it. You can post it as a comment on Facebook, or you could tag eCommerce_tech on Twitter, or just tag me, Derek Haney, on LinkedIn. I want to see what it looks like, either video or screenshot of you wearing some cool glasses using innovative augmented reality. All right, Daniel, unfortunately, this didn't go exactly as planned, but I think we were able to showcase the technology in a really cool way. Tell us, how can we get a hold of you? What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, so my email is daniel@bates.com. So if you just go to our website, you have an email version here, which you can just send an email and we'll go directly to me, and I can answer any questions, send you demos, so that you can actually get a view of what we are up to. And I'll give you all the information down. I think that's going to be easier.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for making it work with us through the middle of a blackout. I hope that the lights are coming back on soon, and that we'll be certainly hearing more from you, because I know that this technology is going to take off and change the world, especially in our highly virtual and secluded, one-dimensional, two-dimensional experiences. You're helping merchants and really their end customers make that unique connection. And that's really been the theme of today and yesterday, especially in fashion and apparel. So we know that this is really going to be pioneering technology. Thanks so much, Daniel, for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.
Awesome. All right. We're going straight into another technology showcase, but we're going in a different direction. Addie, are you ready?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Tell me about Buy With. Hit me with all the deets.
What? Sorry.
Oh yeah, hit me with everything.
Yeah. So I also have a short presentation, but few words before about us, about me. So I'm Adi Ronen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Buy With, and we are a startup company in the live stream shopping area. It's a really, really hot landscape that started in China, and now it's coming to the West. A lot of brands and retailers and e-commerce sites are using right now live stream shopping to create high conversion rate to sales, engagement with the audience, especially now during the pandemic. And after, we see that brands and retailers and e-commerce sites are looking for new and more ways to stay engaged with the audience virtually. So this is what we do. And now I'm going to share my screen and hope it will work.
I absolutely am a huge fan of live stream selling. I think it is often completely underrated in e-commerce. And when I'm talking with especially merchants that are really small, under $100,000 in annual sales, and they have really cool products, they have really cool ideas, I go, you get on a camera and you sell. And if you can't do that, then don't worry about Facebook ads. Don't worry about paying influencers. You get on the camera and you sell, and you do that every day. And I think that that's what makes this tool so cool and amazing. You should be able to share your screen. I can also stop my share down here.
Yeah. So I'm gonna share it. Can I share a window, or it's just?
You should be able to share an application window. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Here.
Yeah, I can see it right now. Great.
All right, I'm bringing it to the stream, and I'm going to hop out of here and let you just completely. Hit the full screen, or the.
It works.
Yeah, looking good.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're Buy With, and we're doing live stream shopping as you have never seen before. So in China, as I said, the live stream shopping is booming. It's already 9% of e-commerce sales. It's amazing. More than 250 million people made a purchase via a live stream shopping session. And now it's coming to the West. We definitely see that the West wants to join the live stream shopping party. And we at Buy With developed an online shopping live stream platform where influencers, experts, celebrities, and store representatives can host virtual shopping events on the e-commerce site. So as I said before, sometimes our clients are using influencers, but a lot of times they're actually using their own employees and store representative. There are many, many use cases. But what we do that is really unique is that our user experience is based on the e-commerce site. So our session, like the background of the session is the e-commerce, and then the host of the session can actually navigate with the viewers from product to product on the site. So it's built for scale. You don't need to have an equipment or camera or studio. You don't need to have anything. You just need to have your e-commerce site and a good internet connection. Then we have the chat at the bottom where the viewers can write comments, ask questions, engage with the host. And we also have some features for the brand, for the e-commerce site, where they can answer on questions with the brand's logo and with highlighted message. So this is basically the user experience, and this is how it works. So once we set date and time for the session, we get a link. So it's not a mobile app. No one needs to install anything. The host of the session and the e-commerce site, the brand can promote this link anywhere. It can be on social, it can be on newsletters, etc. Then people can save their spot and leave their phone number and email address. In a few minutes before the session starts, we will send them a text and an email with the link of the session. Then as soon as the host gets to a product page, we automatically add the want button that people would be able to shop the items, save them for later, etc. So I have here a short video demo. I hope you could hear it and see it well.
We can only see the starting slide of the PowerPoint. Do you want to? If you can stop the screen share and then reshare.
Yeah. Okay. Moved for so many slides. So let me try to share it again. Okay. Maybe I would do it without the full screen. Now you can see the slide that I'm showing with the video.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. So I'll try to do it without the full screen. Maybe let's try it again, once again, and if
I think
now
so,
it works.
Once you go full screen, I can only see the non-full screen version. If you X out of full screen, there should be a presenter view that instead of going like full screen presenter, you actually go into a smaller screen presenter. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Or in PowerPoint as opposed to like completely full screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Fun of technology.
Yeah, definitely. Just a minute. Okay. So,
All right, here we are.
okay, you mean this one? No.
I don't speak
This one?
the language. Oh, this actually looks perfect. Yes, we're in.
Okay. And now you can see the second slide?
Yes, perfect.
Great. Okay, good job. So as I said before, e-commerce in China, live stream shopping in China is booming, already 9% of e-commerce sales. And now the West wants to join the live stream shopping party. So this is an important slide. So you could see our user experience as it's based on the e-commerce site. So we have the video of the host, we have the e-commerce site behind, and we have the chat of the viewers where they can write comments, ask questions, etc. And also I said that a lot of our clients are using influencers, experts, celebrities, and store representatives to host the session. And in terms of the flow, so we have the link of the session where you can promote it anywhere on social and any other channel. Then people can save their spot. And a few minutes before the session starts, they would get a text message and an email with the link of the session. They don't need to install any app to participate, which is decreasing a huge barrier for people to join. And then as soon as the host gets to a product page on the site, we automatically add the want button. And this is our shoppable feature. People can purchase the items, save them during the session, etc. So this is a short video. Let's see if it works right now. Can you see it?
We can see it. We can't hear it, but I am getting the feel for it nonetheless.
Okay, so I will talk while you see it. So actually, this is an influencer, and she is also a session on 7 for All Mankind. Here you can see the chat of the viewers where they can write comments, and she can actually browse on the site from product to product, give her recommendations. It's something very unique in Bywit, this ability to browse in the site and really show the items you want to recommend. And it's also decreased the expenses of the live sessions because you don't need to have an equipment or a studio or camera or anything. And also, as you saw, the viewer can actually make the video bigger. You have the cart during the session where you can purchase the items. And the entire experience is based on the real e-commerce site.
I'm drooling over here.
Okay.
This is amazing.
Yeah, and if you'd be able to hear the sound, it would be even more. And at the end of the session, we have this end page with all the items that they picked during the session.
Wow.
Yeah, so sorry, I couldn't hear you really good.
Oh, I'm just
Okay.
saying wow over here is all.
Yeah, I know, it's really exciting. And I think that only when you see it, you understand it. Oh, and even, you know, if you participate in a live session and you have like thousands of people writing comments in the chat, it's such an engaging user experience. And it's bringing me to speak a bit about numbers. So in our sessions, we achieved a 16% conversion rate to sales. It means that 16% of people that joined the session actually ended up buying, which we know it's super high in e-commerce. Also, in terms of average order value, so we achieved 70% higher average order value compared to the order value on the same website. Another incredible number is the engagement rate. So we achieved already 66% engagement rate. So we measure engagement by writing a comment in the chat or click on the want button. And by the way, we give, like, our clients get report after each session with how many people clicked on the want button on each item, what were the messages, what people said about each items, etc. Yeah, and we'll, like, I would make it short. So we also have a patent about this screen sharing technology. We can work without any code integration on the brand's website. We also have a Shopify app. And we created a really different user experience in e-commerce. This is Bywith. This is standard live stream shopping that is more like QVC. And it makes us really unique in the landscape. So this is all, and I'll go back to you. I'm glad that we can show the presentation.
Yeah.
And let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, so you mentioned that you've got the Shopify integration, and that, but you also said you don't have to have any code on the website. So they're joining this live streaming session, and without any code on the site, how are you able to get the products into, you know, those want products on? Do you just scrape the site and put them up into your own backend?
Yeah, exactly. And with the integration, obviously, it's easier. We can integrate with the shopping cart on the website. So I highly recommend to do the one line of code integration or the Shopify app. But we also have this option. We have many clients that are working without an integration, and they're very happy because it's, you know, mainly for big companies that it's hard for them to do integrations. So it's something that we can do, and it actually gives us as a company a huge advantage, because a few other companies that are doing live stream shopping require a complicated integration with the entire catalog that this integration can take several months. So with us, our one line of code integration is like one line of code integration. It's a few minutes of developer time.
I'm seeing a whole new influencer business model. It feels like as an influencer, so without the integration, I could just go to Seven, their website. I could just do this on like my own Instagram and promote it myself and tell everyone I'm going to go shopping on Seven Jeans and that they can come with me. Then I'll just go shopping all by myself without being paid or told by Seven. They don't even need to know. And then I'm just like promoting them. And it's kind of like hey, everyone, you want to go see me spend $1,000 on jeans? Come join me tomorrow at 9 a.m. and I'm going to go shopping for my 10 favorite pairs or my 5 favorite pairs.
No, so I think it's funny that you're mentioning it, because this is what we're building right now, and it also would be a way for influencers to earn money through this platform. So this is our actually next big thing for Bywith. So stay tuned, and we're working on it.
I seriously might go test this out. just for fun. I don't know. I feel like yeah, I feel like I could just be, grab my phone and start exploring and share on a few social channels and have people tag along. Oh my God. I think that this technology is going to change the way that people think about live streaming and social selling, which is like, a buzzword, but people just still aren't doing it and aren't doing it right. So I'm really excited for this. Thank you so much for showcasing the technology.
Thank you so much.
Really quick, how much does it cost?
Yeah, so it really depends. We have packages that based on the e-commerce site size and the brand's needs. So it really depends. Obviously, we can speak with everyone and see what fits. We can work with any budget. It really depends. It really depends on the sessions you want to do. How many sessions? We have brands that are doing tons of sessions a month, so it depends on your needs. Also, I can say that with the new platform, you would be able to start with affiliate. So it's something that could work for many, brands with low budgets.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much for showcasing that for us, Addie. We're going to move right into our next session. See you later.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, Taylor, Amy, are you guys ready? I'll bring you both in right now.
Hello.
Hey, we have been talking a lot about innovations in technology, and we talked a little bit with Leslie about retail and bringing e-commerce to retail. We are here with you two, I think, to really hammer home that strategy. I'm just going to step out of the way, let you guys introduce yourselves and take it from here. Also, Amy, I see you got the screen share. I'll bring that in here. I'll bounce on out.
Okay, well, hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Amy Weiss. I'm from Amazing at Home. We are an e-commerce global consulting firm. We help entrepreneurs around the world bring their products to market from concept all the way to launch on Amazon and beyond with my partner here, Talor Offer. He is amazing. I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Talor.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Derek, for having us. I'm so excited to be here. Yes, as Amy mentioned, like Amy is on the Amazon and e-commerce section mainly, and I've been doing retail, like physical store retail for like almost 18 years. That's my thing. And me and Amy are doing a very long road together successfully, bringing different private labels and different products and everything to the offline. Yeah.
All right. Well, today we want to talk to you guys about expanding your sales channels beyond Amazon or your own website. Insert e-commerce platform here, because there are so many really, really great retail channels that you can sell in. So we're going to talk about that today and hopefully give you some great tips to help you prepare your products for going into those retail channels. So we just kind of talked about myself and Talor. We have combined 27 years of experience in retail and e-commerce. So we're excited to be bringing this to you guys today. You can find me at amazingathome.com and Talor at Retail Empire. And I think we showed the link earlier, so we'll move on. So what is the opportunity beyond Amazon? More than 90% of retail is actually not on Amazon. I love Amazon, don't get me wrong, like it's a major sales channel for me and my products. I do have my own private label brands, and Amazon is awesome. I also sell on Walmart.com. I sell on my own website, a few other e-commerce channels, but 90% of retail is off of e-commerce, right? E-commerce has that like 10% wedge there, a little over 10%. And the rest is not in e-commerce. So we're talking about how you can really increase your sales by taking advantage of the 90% of retail that is not in e-commerce. There are literally tens of thousands of stores, even in your region, where you can offer your products. And a lot of people just aren't really sure how to do that. So it seems like it's really, really hard to do, but just like in e-commerce, when you learn how to do all the logistics and how to get things done. Your workflow can be really simplified. And there's some common misconceptions, and Talora actually taught me about these misconceptions. I always thought that you needed like a unique product, that you needed some kind of like, you needed like major sales or something to even talk to a buyer. And I learned that it's quite the opposite. You just need really, really great branding and some other things that we're going to talk about today. So don't be afraid to, hopefully after our session today, you won't be afraid to approach retailers. So this less than 10%, we're going to go over this slide really fast, right? There's over 131,000 small specialty retail stores in the US in 2021, 131,000. So if you can think, you could even get your products into 100 stores. You think of Amazon as one store, right? So if you can get your products into 100 other stores and you're selling those products in bulk, imagine what that could do for your overall sales revenue. So we just want to encourage you to take advantage. I mean, and even look in online platforms, besides Amazon, we have some big leaders. We've got Lowe's, Macy's, Wayfair, Best Buy, Target, Home Depot, Etsy, Walmart, eBay, and you can see Amazon with over 2 billion site visits. They're the bulk of that e-commerce wedge, but there's a ton of opportunity outside of that. So I thought this little note was really interesting, that of the top 50 retailers, nearly all of them operate stores. So the top 50 online retailers, nearly all of them operate brick and mortar stores as well. So that should tell us something, right? People are still shopping in stores. They like that. So why wouldn't we put our products there? We already got the supply chain set up. Why wouldn't we do it? So let's look at what we need to do to get there. So these are the channels that we're talking about today. We're talking about specialty stores, which are like mom and pops and small chains, online retailers, which are, you know, the .coms outside of Amazon and Walmart, which have pretty easy barriers to entry. And then some other channels, such as like drop shipping, boxing companies, and flash sale type of companies. Most of those are online. Think stores like Zulily and Wayfair, all channels that you can sell your products in. But that are a little different as far as getting to know and the pricing and everything else. So great opportunities there. So the keys to success that we're going to talk about today. Number 1, your setup and your branding. Number 2, your pricing and your orders. Number 3, how to find those contacts of those stores that you want to sell your products in. And number 4, how to actually communicate with them. Because that's where we all kind of stumble, right? We're like, okay, I think I can find some buyers, but what do I say? How do I approach them? So we're going to talk about that today. So first of all, branding is so important. And Taylor totally taught me and us in our retail masterclass how to take very simple products and how to really set them up so that they stand out. So they have that wow branding, right? We all think about, like, you know, even cosmetic products, the more expensive the packaging, the more you can charge for that product. The perceived value for the customer is so much higher. So we can take very simple products and make some changes in our packaging and our look and feel and our brand messaging. And we can really make an impact in retail. So, you know, it's definitely something that you can look into. Catalogs are also something that we use in brick and mortar channels that we don't use really in e-commerce, right? To list in e-commerce, you create that catalog online. But when you are looking to talk to buyers, you need to have something to show them what your catalog looks like. So catalogs are really great. And a little hack that we're going to give you is you can actually show previews of new products that you don't even have yet, and you can gauge interest that way. So if you're about to launch a new product, throw it in a catalog with some different variations, send that out to some buyers, and you might get interest and be able to get some orders before you've even launched, and that will really help you up your numbers. Anything you want to add here on branding?
Yes, definitely. Well, you know, Amy just mentioned about, you know, offering a product that does not even exist. So as long as you have samples, even if they're not finalized, they're not, you know, still don't have really final packaging or final finishes and everything. There's a good example for that. It happened to me last 2 weeks ago. I was talking with a subscription box, one of the big ones in the States, cosbox.com. You can check them. And they were about to order like a very big quantity of a product from one of my customers. And the product, well, in this case, it exists, but the only thing they wanted to see is a sample. And, you know, this lady that I'm talking with, she keeps samples at her house. So she sent it, like she shipped it from her house. And then the order that they are writing to her is quite huge. I don't want to say numbers, not to have people falling from the chairs, but very huge order. But then the order is meant for August. So she has all the time in the world to go ahead and produce. So what I'm saying here is that if she would present that in the catalog and would not have live inventory or even a product produced already, she could still get that order. So when you show a catalog, if you can have, let's say, out of like 5, 10, 20 SKUs, you can add different variations to those SKUs and offer them as a product, or even a whole new product that does not really exist yet. Yeah, I just wanted to add that thing. And yeah, as for branding, I mean, what I see, and I see it a lot, you have to wow them. That's the key word. I always repeat that wow thing. That's the only, not only, but the best definition that I could find for what is branding all about. How would you make branding really work for you? Because think about Amazon.com. If you show a picture of the product, you know that the picture has to be 100%, 1000% perfect. Otherwise, you know, people would sit there and, you know, go on scrolling to the next thing. And it's the same thing with retail. If you show it to buyers or to any other title that are back there in the other side, and they don't see something that attracts them, you lose them. They lose you. See what I'm saying? So branding has to be wow in terms of colors, in terms of language. Well, I guess that most of the people who are here today, if not all of them, heard quite a lot about branding, because there's a lot of, you know, things going on with people talks about branding. A lot of professionals knows a lot about branding. The only thing that I could add to that is, again, the wow thing. You go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
No worries. I would agree. Wow, the wow factor is huge, and it just needs to be cohesive as well. So let's talk about pricing. This is the second consideration for expanding. Right now, if you're on Amazon, you're selling on Walmart, you're selling on your own website, you kind of know your numbers, right? You know what you source it for, you know what you sell it for. But now when we're selling our products wholesale to retailers, we have to introduce another layer into our pricing. And so we have to really make sure, number one, that we have enough margin to be able to sell our products at a discount at a wholesale price, because retailers buy your products usually at the standard is 50% of your retail price. So if you're selling that product for $40, you're going to sell it wholesale for $20. And that leaves the retailer enough room to put it on their shelf, mark it up, and be able to make a profit on it. So hopefully your margins are big enough so that if you're selling it to them for 20, you're not sourcing it for more than 10, so that you can make sure that you have the space in there to make a profit at both your wholesale margin and direct to consumer margins. So pricing is the second thing that you really need to kind of understand and get right in order to move your products into retailers, because that buyer, after you reach out to them and you present them with your wow brand and you show them your catalogs and say, yeah, I got this really great product that would be great for your store, they're going to say, all right, send me the details. What can I buy it for? What's my MOQ? You know, where is it shipping from? You know, for me, it's FOB San Antonio. So I need to make sure that I have that pricing set up ahead of time. So make sure that you understand what your wholesale price is, what your landed cost is, what your MSRP is, and that you're creating your products in such a way or packaging them in such a way that your pricing is not an issue between your online sales and your in-retail sales. So if you're one of those private label Amazon sellers that loves to change your prices all the time, maybe you create different packaging specifically for retail so that your retailers aren't getting upset with you for selling it to them. Let's say your MSRP is $40. You sold it to them for $20, and then you put it on sale on Amazon for $23.99. And, you know, all of a sudden your retail partners are going, hey, now wait a minute. you know, you're competing with us now. You know, the deal is we don't want to do that. So if you are one of those that needs to be able to change your price, maybe the competitive landscape's a little bit different online, you should be planning for that ahead of time, but just make sure that you have a pricing strategy. Do you want to add anything to this, Taylor?
Yeah, just to keep in mind, I mean, everything that you said is so correct, but just to keep in mind that, you know, different platforms, different pricing, meaning, for instance, I had my weekly call this week with Macy's, and, you know, I was talking about pricing with them. With Macy's, most cases, you can have very good pricing. You can have sometimes even more than what you expect to get because they sell for high price at the end of the day. Obviously, yeah, if you have it on Amazon for, let's say, $40 and you want to have it on your website for $60, then yeah, you have an issue here. You have to, you know, to play with the numbers. But then if you go to subscription boxes, it's different. And if you go to local stores, what we spoke about in the beginning, which is moms and pop stores, you know, standalone stores, you would probably most cases you end up selling them for like somewhere around half of the MSRP. So that would be the wholesale price. So you have to know what are the channels and what pricing would fit each and every one of them. Because if you do the same pricing for all of them, then you lose the business. And they would, you know, it's not about only pricing, but also about knowing the pricing terms. What is it all about? How do you play with that? What is margin? What is markup? What's the differences between them and so forth?
Yeah, so learning the language is really, really important. Just like you had to learn the language to sell in e-commerce, you had to learn all those acronyms. You need to learn the same for selling in retail. And then, as Taylor mentioned, there's different terms and pricing for each platform that you're working with, each buyer, you know, so just have those conversations. I know when I went and pitched Walmart, they asked me all kinds of questions that I didn't necessarily, they threw some new words at me that I didn't know about. And I just made sure that I was transparent and said, hey, I'm sorry, this is my first time selling to a Walmart. I don't know your language. You know, I'm here to do business with you, right? That's the bottom line, is just be transparent and make sure that before you give up any pricing that you're understanding how it works and what you're dealing with there. So finding buyers, this is the big thing, you guys. We mentioned over 131,000 just specialty retailers. Those are like little moms and pop shops and stuff like that. So many, the trends right now in the US are like strip malls, like, and next to big department stores, there's lots of like strip malls in every community with smaller stores. You can sell your products in any of those. These stores, they need your products. So there's nothing wrong with going out and finding those buyers. So you can search for contacts in places like Yelp, LinkedIn, and different directories. And what you want to know when you start reaching out to people on these platforms, you want to make sure that your brief is good. So what do you look like when if you're reaching out to buyers on LinkedIn? How does your LinkedIn look? Does it present that, you know, that you're the person who should be reaching out to buyers, right? Is it, you know, a professional image? So you want to make sure, just like you set up your Facebook page to look great for your brand, you want to make sure that you're doing that across your channels, that everything looks good, that it looks good for buyers, your website, your branding, all of that. And then when you're making your initial contact, you want that to be short and concise. I know how many of you have gotten spam messages on LinkedIn that are like 2 miles long, and the person's just going blah, 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 blah. Like, nobody wants to deal with that, right? You're gonna get the block button if you do that. So your initial contact should just be professional, short, and concise, you know, and then the key to success is in your follow-up. So first, just make initial contact, find those buyers, make that initial contact, say hello. You know, hello, how's it going? Love your store, you know, great to be connected with you here on LinkedIn, whatever, right? And then when you're following up, that's when you know, it's just like if you're trying to work with an influencer. You don't want your first message to that influencer to be like, you know, 2 miles long and blah, blah, blah. You're throwing everything at them, right? You want to develop a relationship. And that's what it's about. It's about professional relationships. Your network is your net worth, right? So you're just doing that. You're you're reaching out to folks. Taylor's an expert at this. He's got his VAs like trained to do it for him. He's amazing. And so, he taught us during our retail masterclass, he taught us exactly how to do this, the nuts and bolts of how to reach out to buyers. And I was impressed at how simple it was. I was totally overthinking it, right? So, Taylor, what do you think about this? What's your tip for this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's about being delicate and sophisticated and not just to approach people with the tons of information, like throwing it out to them and thinking that they would like start to read, long stuff, reading long texts and everything. That's the first thing to keep in mind. And then, I think, today I'm dealing with a lot of different VAs that are doing this job for me, but back at the time when I started all these things, I was doing it myself. I had to realize what would be the best thing, for my business to say to people, how to introduce it, what brief to use. Only when I knew what contacts I'm looking for and so forth. Only when I knew all that, I was ready to give it to my VA and have him, doing it for me. And even though I do so, I would still need to keep an eye open, because you know how it is with VAs. But this is like gold what you're seeing here. And I would if I had to pick the goldest gold inside here, then out of Yelp, LinkedIn, and other directories, I would definitely pick LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, people might not be aware of that, but as of today, I see it, and not only me, this is like the best social platform on earth, the best one. Your exposure, the way you can contact people, the way it works, that it's mentally and not only mentally, but also generally, all this atmosphere around it is all about making contacts and making business. So that's exactly what you're looking for, but you just need to know how to use it properly. And there's the pro tip, which I leave for you, Amy.
Yes. Oh, the pro tip. Okay. This is what I did wrong, you guys. For years, I did this wrong. I was trying to get into retail stores and I was filling out online forms. I was going to the websites. I fell for a lot of the big conglomerates that say, we introduce you to all these buyers. It's literally a black hole. It's like a waste of your time. So I filled out so many online forms thinking that I was going to be introduced. And that didn't happen. So it's a lot better to just set up your stuff and make connections. And so don't ever fill out online forms. Good tip. All right. So this is really it. We've kind of covered, you guys, some topics here. And this is what we cover in our masterclass is, really our first module is all about how to like set up your products, how to look at what categories your products are sold in stores, how to do the research to make sure that you're reaching out and setting up your brand properly, reaching out to the right people. Our second module is all about pricing and orders. So we're teaching you how to like set your prices, how to ensure that you know how to deal with different prices with different buyers, how to take orders, how to send invoices, how to do all of that. And what's great about our program is Taylor lives in Israel and he sells his products to retailers all across the US. So a lot of our people that take our program are actually overseas. And they learn to set up their stuff. We give them the resources, the logistics providers, the distributors, everything that they need to set up a successful business in commerce here in the US in retail, even if you live overseas. So don't think that limits you. And then our third module is all about setting up your branding and your visibility. Like, what does your website need to look like? What does your LinkedIn profile need to look like? How do you need to, appear to buyers? How does your branding need to look? All of that, we cover all of that. How to create catalogs. We give you all of our resources so that catalogs don't have to be expensive, which is really, really a great thing. And then we go over marketing and sales and briefs. So how do you actually start reaching out? How do you present yourself? How do you do that marketing? How do you make those sales? How do you do that follow-up? We show you actual examples of us doing it so that you have the templates, you're ready to go. And then finally, our last module is all about finding those key resources. So you've set everything up, you're ready to go, you're ready to make sales, you're ready to take orders, but then how do you actually find those key resources and make contact with them? So that is our whole class. If this is something that hopefully our tips today have given you guys some things to start considering in getting your products into retail. But if you want to learn the language firsthand from people that are doing it every day, you can learn from us. And we've got the link down there. And then we do have some bonuses. We do provide templates. We give you pretty much everything that you need to get started. So, you know, your invoices, your payment forms, your line sheets. We give you example catalogs, email templates. We give you contacts as resource connections, all of that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we introduce you to a few of our retailers that are in our massive database of contacts to get you started, because we're committed to your success. So that's it. You can sign up at amazingathome.com/retail. And I think that's it, right?
Right. I would just add one very important thing to that. You know, there's something about masterclass that when you learn it and you see all the theory and everything, and you get excited about it and everything, and then you start thinking, you know, I'm going to do it like that, like this, and you have your plans and everything is in place. And then, you know, you're at the beginning of the thing, and then all of a sudden something inside you start to shake. You know, you're like, what am I doing? Is this the right thing? How do I really start? I mean, I know everything, but I feel like I'm not sure. That's where I step in. And we are having our, you know, masterclass private group, and I'm weekly giving updates about new platforms and new channels that I'm opening all the time, doing business with. And I'm literally introducing you myself to my own connections in this masterclass, so that your business could really kick off, and you start to see, oh, they sent me an email, oh, they want this order, oh, they wanted this, they want samples, and so forth. And then you get into the business, like, you know, to start the ball rolling. That's the kick that you would need, and that's what I'm doing, because I know where people come from when they start a business, you know, taking their business to the next step. Yeah.
Now I've got a question for you guys. This look, I mean, I think you make the case for moving into retail very strongly, and I think a lot of merchants today that maybe aren't there right now are now going, oh my gosh, let's jump on this. But be real with me. How much time do I need to dedicate to get this done? Because it could be a person's full-time job just moving into retail. And we've got merchants here watching that are already spinning 500 plates and probably got 3 other ideas. Oh, I'm going to do augmented reality. Oh, I'm going to do live influencer marketing. It's like, so how do we prioritize this and help the merchant decide when to execute on moving into retail?
So I'll divide the answer to two sides, 2 points. And I'll give the second point to Amy, because while our masterclass, she was using everything that I was giving there in order to implement and actually doing it, you know, in real life, live during the sessions, which is amazing. So before that point of Amy, I would just tell you that, you know, recently we had back in Israel a lot of lockdowns, and schools are closed, open, a lot of, you know, whatever it is. And I have my own business. I have a couple of them. And then my time was not limited, but super limited. I only had like 3 to 5 hours working in the evening. My day was like totally for the family. I had no other choice, because, you know, lockdown and everything. And that brought me the very, you know, precise answer to your question, because until that point I couldn't say, because sometimes you work and then you think, okay, I'm going to do that as well and that as well, and then you plan 2 hours and you end up with 5 hours. But I divided my 5 hours to make sure what I'm doing. And I took, at that time of this all lockdowns, I took a whole new line of products with a customer, and I managed to enter them within 3 weeks to, I think, 5 or 6 different channels, very strong ones. And that was something that I did not more than an hour a day. So, okay, you would say, okay, Taylor, you know how it works and everything.
Yeah, you're already the expert now. Come on.
Right. So I would say, I agree. So I would say an hour and a half to 2 hours, at least at the first stage, is great. But then if you really want to go for it, and once you understand the potential, sometimes, and I see it a lot, people would drag into it and say, you know what, it's even much more important than Amazon. I want to dedicate like 3, 4, 5 hours a day for that, because it's worth it. And then when you have the VA stages, then it's a whole
start to automate it a little.
Like you're like, yeah. So
and just coming from my side, you know, most of my stuff is already in e-commerce, but I see the potential in retail, because once you get that workflow set up, it's just a matter of, just like you're replenishing your stock in Amazon, you're replenishing it at your retailer. So it's a really great way to grow your existing revenue, especially if you don't want to add 80 more products to your lines. If you just want to have that one really great brand and you've already got your supply chain and everything good to go, you really have nothing to lose in adding these additional channels and everything to gain, because all you're doing then is filling orders additionally besides your existing e-commerce channels. And that's a really nice thing when those orders are, 80 to 100 units to 500 units to 1,000 to 10,000. I think one of our new retailers that we just brought on, their minimum order is 50,000 units. So, and that's in the beauty industry. So imagine if you could get that set up and you could be regularly replenishing a vendor that's ordering 50,000 units from you at a time. What would that mean for your business? You're spending all of this time and effort already in e-commerce, making these sales. Imagine what it would be like if you could really just establish some more channels, and it just would make the difference in your revenue. And it's a lot easier. You don't have to advertise. They're paying for shipping. So it's a lot easier in some aspects once you get everything set up.
I gotcha. So definitely the stage at which to do this is when I have strong supply chain management. I can make large purchase orders myself. So I need a little bit of cash flow, perhaps myself, to manage this process. Do the retailers often do nets on their payment period that might break my cash flow?
Yes, they do. But here's the thing. I mean, if you go, it depends what channel you choose. If you go to the .com, it's easier in terms of, cash flow. And if you go to the specialty stores, the mom and pop stores, it's even much easier because mom and pop stores are paying cash before delivery, which is like, it's heaven. It's sometimes, up to orders of like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $6,000, they would pay by credit card, which is like immediately you see the money and that's it. So,
it's not like when you're dealing with like Walmart or Costco and you're ordering a container load at a time and you've got net 30. It's not like that. We're talking about the 130,000 specialty stores across the US that you can sell your products to. They pay up front and they pay for shipping.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much. I hope that everyone here is at least thinking about how to move into retail and going to time out when to take this masterclass. It's the place to go as you break into retail. So thank you both for being here.
Thanks, Derek.
All right. We're moving right into our next session. I'm going to introduce Ty and Cadigan to you. Hello. How's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
Hey, doing great. It has been a jam-packed day 2 of this event. We had apparently there's a blackout in Stockholm, Sweden tonight, which is caused us some interesting problems earlier, but everything has been going as smoothly as you expect when we're demoing tech products and really talking about innovation in fashion and apparel. And with that said, I'm going to let you, Ty, take it away, introduce Cadigan, and I'm going to get out of here.
All right. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. This is Ty Givens from the Workforce Pro, and I'm going to be introducing you to Cadigan Price, who is founder and CEO of Cadigan. They have these amazing jackets that I actually love, and I'm going to let Cadigan tell you a little bit more about it, but I'm going to be talking with him about his brilliant decision to focus on customer experience fairly early in his process. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. So the brand was founded in 2017, probably more or less came to market really in 2019 after kind of traveling the world, really understanding supply chain, the process, not only to create a leather jacket, but, one that is now Cadigan. And so, with that in mind, the evolution, I guess, from there was really, we saw an opportunity for e-commerce, in terms of the audience we're engaging with, and how we wanted to go to market. That was definitely a big focus for us. And with that in mind, we've worked very closely with some retailers as well. And it's really been an amazing feedback loop from our customer base, working with store owners to really help us transform the product. And in that process of kind of working so closely with the customer, a lot of things unfolded that we realized were so kind of quintessential, I guess, in terms of running the business on a day-to-day, which was, e-commerce is so dehumanized, and we really wanted to, bring to light a more hands-on experience as we go forward. And that's just, opened so many doors for us in so many different ways. The community gets stronger day by day. We're super excited about just the overall kind of growth in terms of maturity of the brand, but also in terms of the way in which we're interacting, right? We've just had an amazing NFL partnership that surfaced. We've had some other things that have come to light. So it's just because of kind of the focus on product, the focus on the customer, and how the marriage of the two work in today's climate, really understanding that and applying that has just kind of helped us be more on the I guess, trending edge of what's needed today.
Gotcha. So tell me, what was the inspiration behind starting Cadigan? What's the inspiration behind the brand in general?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm a buyer myself, I guess, of clothing, of course, just like all of us. But, I was never one to really overextend myself into like true designer brands. When you're talking about the Louis Vuittons, the Dior's, and maybe a Fendi or so. So, from that perspective, I always appreciated the quality. It's something that the workmanship, those guys are literally creating a new space every day in terms of just thought leadership and in the way in which like a Kim Jones at Dior just creates new. And it's just fascinating to me. The other parts of that was, okay, so that's a whole realm of price point in itself. And then I felt like there was kind of the lower end, which is really interesting, like a Zara. Some of that stuff's very hit and miss. You have so many SKUs that you can kind of find something within that realm that, maybe you get excited about and that the quality's there. But, that's also something I don't see consistency. You just kind of see a spectrum of so many different things, right? A lot of different noises coming kind of when you walk into those stores. And then there's this mid-tier, this premium space, which I think it's been kind of owned and kind of the way I look at it from, your Vince, your Zadig & Voltaire, your All Saints, your Sandro, your Theory, your Rag & Bone. And they do amazing silhouettes, amazing fabric choices, a lot of heritage and some of these brands have been around for 30, 40 years. And I felt like there's a bit of like, they're conservative. I don't want to say they're kind of boring, but they're conservative in terms of design. So I felt like you get a black leather jacket, you get a black lining with that leather jacket. There's no, as a guy, you want to express yourself within your own comfort, but you want to kind of give yourself that little bit of edge. You want something to be a little bit more kind of loud at times, other things a little bit more subtle. And so the big thing that kind of started the conversation was, how do we basically give the guys the opportunity to tell a story, but what we call design with one twist. So we're always looking to add an element of surprise, but there's a spectrum, right? We're not adding 50,000 studs to our jackets where there's a lack of comfort. And so we call it kind of like calmness, composure, confidence. That's the Cadigan man. With that in mind, the look, we try to like amplify certainty. So whatever that means to kind of the kind of customers that we're chasing and speaking with, it's really embodying that.
I actually want to show some of your designs. I'm going to bring up your site. And I was thinking that
and like, for example, right? So like this, I don't know if you can see it in here, but this has a really cool blue lining, right? Which is going to be less common. I know you probably can't see it, but it's an Italian satin. It's really blue. But
now, is that particular jacket on the website right now?
Yeah, that's just the capital. That's one of probably the more cleaner, simpler looks. But you can just scroll down right there. If you just scroll down just a little bit, you'll see like this one on the far left, right? It has the leather with the suede trim. This one has a really cool kind of diagonal cut in the shoulder, and then the Mavens, one of our louder pieces with some titanium metalwork and some suede details. And then really obviously the other part of this whole conversation is just to be in that market. Obviously, it's price. So we had to really understand supply chain to bring Italian satin into the mix and bring high quality, full grain Napa leather, but not provided at a retail price point of $1,400, $2,200. So that was a really cool learning experience. And working through that, when we first went to market, our jackets were over $1,000, and we had to really reevaluate supply chain. And it wasn't actually that the quality of the product went down. It was just a lot of our kind of effort around the different disciplines and domains that made up the product. But yeah, so that's part of it, right? Is to be in that market, you also have to make it accessible. So it's
Yeah.
a premium product, but it's accessible, and at the same time, it could be aspirational for a lot of people, which we're hopeful for. But aspirational in the sense that you can achieve it and buy it, kind of like a BMW or some of these cars that, you know what I mean? It's not a Lamborghini or something like that.
So describe your customer, because you mentioned that, you mentioned a lot of different brands that exist today, but exactly who are you guys targeting, and what was your process in defining that? Because I think that an opportunity for other businesses is to really hone in and focus in on who they're going after, especially from a customer experience standpoint. And you seem to understand your customer very well, what he likes, what he needs. How did you get to that process? And who's your customer?
I mean, the brand's probably an extension of myself, so if I don't like it, then it's probably an alignment.
That's easy.
But ultimately we have some amazing customers and kind of focus groups that also provide a lot of sound feedback. But with that in mind, I think there's our guy, and this is something that I've learned, right? Our guy is not, he's old enough to, so let's say 28, give or take, old enough to appreciate quality, but also invest in quality, right? So, understanding, and by all means, I'm not, Zara and some of these guys, some great wins at those stores. So it's somebody that appreciates quality, knows how to find quality, knows how to style things together, right? So they may wear something from Zara or something from Vince because that's a really nice, clean tee, but then they want to wear a jacket that, you can be a little bit louder. With jackets, you can always take a jacket off, right? So you can wear something a little bit louder knowing that you can always coat check it. So with that in mind, our customer, we've seen, it's probably like 28 all the way up to like 58, which has been amazing. We have this amazing audience, 48 to probably 58, that has been absolutely very, very kind of, incredible supporter of what we're doing. I think the big conversation piece is the lifestyle piece. So we're speaking to somebody that, enjoys going out to a nice dinner, maybe has a few kind of wild nights, within a quarter, and kind of gets after it, has some fun, dresses up, goes out with their friends or a couple guys. Somebody that definitely travels a lot, right? So they're kind of changing climates and living in and out of, colder or warmer weather. And I think it's somebody that, at the very core, it's somebody that, is a sense of humility, right? So the clothing's not super loud. So I think it's somebody that's not trying to be the loudest person in the room, but it lives a life of abundance, is actually like striving for so much more in life. So, I look at and the way we want to speak to our customers, somebody that isn't living an ordinary life. This is somebody that is creating an extraordinary life. And what that means is, like, whether it's in a corporate setting where they work for somebody else, but they just want more. Like, they're constantly pushing the needle of corporate entrepreneurship internally to kind of earn that seat at the table. And so I find that, like, it could be a small business owner, a medium-sized business owner, somebody that, appreciate. We do have a lot of really awesome celebrities, from Sterling K to just that partnership with Lance, that, like, obviously people appreciate that, and that obviously has a part in it. But I think the big conversation piece is, I want to create a piece of clothing where if you're having dinner with a CEO of 1,000, 2,000 person company, and he's wearing that Tom Ford jacket because he can afford it, you come to dinner at the Cadogan, or at the table with a Cadogan jacket, and you just like, there's nothing that needs to be said, but he respects you, you're well-groomed, you look the part, and you basically have earned that seat at the table. And when you're at that table, you feel comfortable. So you can always level up, and hopefully you'll grow to the point that Cadogan, the price point, it's inconsequential to your discretionary income. But the point being is, I think there's a much larger audience out there that's trying to achieve that than the ones that obviously that are already at that 1%. And so giving people the tool, clothing's your second skin, giving them the tool to feel confident, look their best. I always say, I don't care if you own one Cadogan or 10, but if you only own one, but we also consciously have that outfit that we're like, all right, I have a big date or a big meeting, and you want to look your best. Like, that outfit, you're like, I just feel good in this. If that's our jacket, or if that's our tee or something of that nature, then we're doing our job. And that, to me, is probably the most important part of the whole piece.
I love that. I know you and I have been working on customer experience ops more specifically, and I really commended your decision to focus on it so keenly. And also, you are one of the most prepared people I've ever worked with. Whenever we have anything to work on together, you're constantly on top of it, if not ahead of it. And even going down to the detail of having your playbook that you've designed already, which is amazing. When you were building out, I'm more curious about like your background and your thought process in setting up your business, because you seem to be very forward thinking and you seem to be thinking about things from end to end. Can you talk to the audience about your mindset when you were setting up the business, and then deciding who you wanted to be? So for example, that's a long question, but for example, when we call any business or you talk to any company, the person picks up the phone and they, like, for example, thank you for calling Cadigan. This is Ty, as an example. Right. My name is Ty, but the person called Cadigan, right? And so regardless of what Ty says and does, the person's going to remember what happened with Cadigan, not necessarily with Ty, right? So as you were thinking about who your brand was going to be, how it was going to be presented, what were some of the thought processes that you had, and what drove you to become so focused on making sure that you had built your brand, documented, pretty much like regimented everything that you wanted, which I think is great. And it's something I encourage and actually do for other clients, but I didn't have to do that for you. So I just want to learn a little bit more about your background and how you came to be.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So, I mean, when the truth be told, I didn't really get into the opportunity to do this till, most recently. So, when I was much younger, I had an amazing grandma who was just a phenomenal artist, or is a phenomenal artist. And so she definitely imprinted on me, just working with her on acrylics, pastels, and different, mediums that I didn't realize, what that really meant to me at such a young age. And it just probably opened my mind, plus some of the traveling I had done early on. And so, when you bring that to light and then you kind of move forward and, graduated college, got a job in kind of a sales role and stayed in that kind of capacity, worked my way up into enterprise software. But the point being was just, from that perspective, like corporate has a lot of value, right? In terms of like a company is not like the last company I was with was $500 million, about a $500 million company, 1,700 employees. They didn't get there without, structure, systems, people. Like it's just nearly impossible to do that without obviously having a team around you. And so, there was a lot to be said if you kind of open your eyes to like, why do we do this? And what is this system? And what's the, you realize like if you get outside of your bubble as an employee and look, and as I kind of worked my way up within that company, had a chance to be in Singapore for a couple of years working, like my eyes got opened up, seeing some of the P&L and other things. And so with that in mind, that was kind of the foundation, if you may. And what came of it was I just realized that it wasn't lighting my world on fire like I had hoped. And I ventured out into the creative world. And when I started Cadigan, I couldn't tell you where this came from. And I was thinking of like, if you were to ask me, what feedback would you give, or what would you let somebody know to kind of, start off on the right foot?
Yeah.
There's two things, and I didn't mention it before, but I want to make sure I mention it. So you asked like, how do we define the avatars? But the first thing was when we started the business, which kind of answers your bigger question, is I decided, okay, I got to come up with like 3 core values that ultimately resonate throughout the entire capacity of the business, no matter how big or small we ever are, that every decision that from there on out is basically decided based on those factors. And what I mean by that is for the brand, especially for me as a decision maker within the brand, a key stakeholder, and I push this off onto all staff and primary kind of key stakeholders, is scalability, freedom, and quality. And like they're kind of overarching umbrellas, and they're the North Star. So quality, right? That's an easy one. Whether it's product, if you can find a lining for $3 cheaper per yard, that doesn't mean it's the right lining for us. For somebody else like Zara, that might be the right lining. I won't make a decision based on price. The second conversation piece is around, scalability. Systems create scalability. People create scalability. So when you think of it in that nature, myself compared to another business owner, hey, look, business is growing. You should implement a service help desk. Somebody else may say, look, we're trying to bootstrap it a little bit differently. Let's just keep using the email. I say, look, I know that we already need to have the transparency, the reporting, the people. Let's put the system in place first, build on top of that system, knowing that from there on out, it's going to be a much easier process for everybody involved. and I can now bring more people into the fold much easier. And then last part is freedom. Like that's selfishly, it's for me, but I always wanted to work on the business, not in the business.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to step away, meaning I have support systems, so forth. And so like in terms of those three principles, I can honestly say when it came to the conversations we had, the reason we had those conversations is because it was very black and white. Do you do this or do you not do this? This is directly aligned with what I believe is the North Star for the business. The system comes first, and then we do this, 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 and this. And then the rest of it is just obviously hard work. I've got some incredible people around me, like I really do. So I've learned so much from other people. And I've got a mentor that, more or less is so involved in the business. And then I got one of the best customer service people I could ever ask for. And then a million other marketing folks and warehouse people that just make this business run so smoothly. And so, I think people without a doubt have made a difference. They give me the time back to be prepared for the conversations you and I have, get you the information you need. Right. And, that to me is you can't put a price on that as well.
I'm with you on that one for sure. I know earlier on you had mentioned that a part of what you wanted to do was have a very human experience, and you wanted to differentiate yourself from other brands. Can you expand on that a little bit? What does that look and feel like to you and your customer?
Yeah, I think when I first you think of the lifestyle, right? So when I think of the lifestyle of the brand, I when you go, and I just say BMW, I just happen to have one, but when you go to the service center, like you get a very positive experience there. I hope you do. That's their effort, right? And it's going to be a little bit different than maybe some of the other brands that are going to be considered a class below, right? And so my point being is just that there's two ways to look at it. We're not Wi-Fi, and I mean that jokingly, but like if Wi-Fi doesn't work, people are pissed. Like right away, they're like, "Damn, this Wi-Fi sucks." With clothing, right? If somebody gets something and it's not like in terms of they have to exchange it or they don't have the best customer service experience, but then they wear it and they get a bunch of compliments, they almost forget about that. And that could be a way to just kind of accept, which is a bit complacent, but you could just accept that as being like, let's give a 6-7 customer, like 6, 7, 8 kind of experience, and that's good enough. But I actually feel, and this is somewhere where I'm really leaning into as a business owner and driving the culture and the organization into like a very customer service oriented philosophy, theory, and practice. And the reason for that is because I think e-commerce, especially with COVID, it's only going to get more saturated. It's a very effective business model, so rightfully so. And with that, customer service is an amazing opportunity to differentiate yourself. And when we talk about what we're doing today and what we're going to do, the part we're doing today is there are a lot of brands out there that you buy something from them, and in the parcel comes a prepaid return shipping label. So you basically can immediately try it on, say, and ship it back, right? And you're almost encouraging that behavior. And then the other part to it is there's a lot of these things like happy returns and all these platforms out there where people can basically go to a website, a microsite, click a couple things, and process an exchange or a return.
Wait, one second, Cadigan.
Sure.
The sound. Are you experiencing that too?
I can hear you both fine. I heard a little bit of echo on your side, Ty, though, but I think it's still working.
Okay, because literally I was hearing.
Oh, you're okay. Do you need me to?
I'm on a delay, but as long as everybody else is good, I'll be quiet. Go on. Sorry.
I think it's working okay.
Yeah, no, I think we're okay. I can hear great. And so all I was saying was then the other part to it is like automation of returns just through a website. People go, they click a couple buttons. So one thing we've done is like, I want you to speak with somebody on our team. One, we can learn what's going on so we can adjust that in future product cycles. But two, that's a great opportunity for us to build a win and build a relationship, most importantly. Because let's say somebody is in between a medium and a large, and they want to go ahead and they need to kind of find out, well, we don't have a store at this time. So having them the opportunity to go ahead and try on those 2 jackets is an amazing opportunity for that customer to basically really see that we value kind of their support and their basically involvement in the brand, and do it in a more premium way, like do it in a more hands-on white glove approach. And so that's really important to us. And one thing that I'm really focused on and working with you is basically tripling the size of our customer service staff in the next 60 days. Like, we are focused on putting systems in place and people in place so that we can do live chat on the website and do like proactive live chat and like engage with customers on the front end, because I want to humanize that experience in a very like casual conversational way. And then on the return side, and then obviously handling phones, we need more support on in real time to come ahead and support phones. So we're kind of flipping the script. Instead of saying let's get that 6, 7, 8 score and that's, you know, that's good. We want to go into the point where people are like, bar none, best customer service I've ever experienced, and they just have faith, because e-commerce, you don't, you know, you get something at, you know, for the first time especially, you're like, will it fit, will it not fit? That creates a lot of apprehension. I want to make sure that we're there each step of the way to kind of handhold the customer through the experience, and make sure that they have a positive one.
So I'm still having sound issues.
It's okay.
Actually, so for me, the second part of the conversation just ended.
That's okay.
Sorry about that, y'all.
It's okay.
Though that was great. I'm really looking forward to continue to work with you on building the experience that you want to give to your clients. It's been really fun so far, and I love how in touch you are with the experience that you want to create. It makes my work a lot easier, and that's what we're here for. So let's see here. All right, so let's look ahead. Uh-oh.
I'm just bringing you face to face.
Okay. I'm still having that trouble, but that's okay. Let's look ahead. Okay. Okay, no problem. Let me stop all of my screen share. All right. So let's talk about the future, and let's talk a little bit about the experience that you've had with COVID. Like you mentioned that so many businesses are moving towards e-com, which is 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
How has that impacted Cadigan as a brand? Where do you see yourself in a year from now and 5 years from now?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, to say that like we don't necessarily pay attention to that would be a lie, but at the same time, you can't, right? They have their own business model. Like e-commerce within e-commerce is like, it's amazing what I've learned just in the different business models. So I think, you know, the big thing is understand your customer, understand, you know, we have a branding deck, which, you know, we talked about the principles in the branding deck, the two go hand in hand to kind of speak to the evolution of the brand, and more importantly, share that with our partners that we bring on so they understand kind of our footprint and what we stand for. But, you know, with that in mind, customer service, you know, I think that's going to be a keystone to our success. I'm in a kind of a project right now, we could call it, which will be delivered in April, where we're basically partnering with a company that has over 5 million body scans. And why that's so important is they can actually basically, with very limited information, plus our detailed specs, plus some customer feedback, which we've been working on with our customer base, basically provide a recommendation in terms of a fit. So they have this ability to take basically that customer's profile, which very, very simple, like less than maybe 5 questions, like very simple. And it's just like click, 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 done. And it can spit out a recommendation on the jacket. So, and it's, you know, to our spec, to how we'd like to see the jacket fit. So I think that will be amazing. And then big picture, it's just evolution of product. So, you know, we're already working and having conversations around the whole denim kind of build out, right? And when we first launched, we had kind of done everything. So we had shoes, bags, belts, you know, menswear in its all its glory. And we kind of narrowed down the scope just to get really good at a couple things. And now we have, but we know the vision for the big picture, but now kind of build it out and take that time to do it right. You know, we just launched hoodies. That was like a 6-month process, but feedback's been amazing, right? So you, like, to me, that's really important because of kind of the ethos of the brand, what we stand for, and more importantly, our price point. And so, you know, with that, we're working on a denim project. That's a big goal for this year. And then from there, that opens things up. We can get into like wovens, we can get into knitted, you know, sweaters and so forth, and some kind of cool look and feel. definitely accessories to complete the look, bags, belts, shoes, that kind of thing. And so that's all, privy and something we're working on. And then lastly, we have big plans. I mean, from the standpoint of creating in-store experiences, we've had a number of stores reach out that we're exploring partnerships with in Florida and Georgia, California, New York, that like the right partners, brands that carry really cool brands from Balmain to MCM to like brands that we would fit in nicely with and really kind of be respected upon, which is pretty cool. And even be offered that opportunity is tremendous. And then lastly, it's international. So Q1 next year, big plans is to open this thing up into, we've got some amazing outreach from Germany and some other markets on a monthly basis and see what we can kind of drive from that story. And then women, maybe one day soon, because I have women that always ask, when are we going to get our jackets? So.
Yep, that was going to be my next question. I'm still having the sound issue. Derek, can you hop in for a second? I'm going to drop off and come right back because I have a final question for you.
Okay. While we're waiting for your return, I am eyeing these jackets, just kind of like sitting here on the sidelines thinking, okay, when do I get this, right? I love the styles. I'm looking across them. That suede one is like perfectly my style. And I'm thinking as soon as live events become a thing again, I'll be traveling to a few of them. And so definitely want to incorporate that. While we're waiting on Ty, I have a question. You talked a little bit about price point and pricing and being able to work that on the supply chain side. Have you done anything in terms of price testing? Because I feel like these price points are, it could be that the price goes up and you get more sales because you're in such a great niche luxury market. So that's just my
great question, right? So especially with jackets, this was a kind of a learning experience over 18 months, but went to market, let's say $1,000 plus when we first launched, and it was so nominal and such only a handful of people have those jackets. But the reality of it is if you want to play in that space, the whole business model changes from runway shows and fashion show. Like you're talking a different mindset as a brand, and you have to have incredible patience in the scheme of things because it's a commitment, and most people are not going to jump on that online. To be honest, like most people are going to try that on in the store, and then they'll be like, "Oh, this is," and that's where we had a lot of good retail relationships, and that's where that product moved. And in that kind of venture, we were doing some different things, like we were using some exotic materials and some other things, but there was, black leather is king, right? So even though I'm not wearing one of the black leather at the moment, black leather is king. And so we went from that to evaluating and testing on some price points. And so we spent a couple months, and it's an interesting sweet spot that we found. And we've had to work backwards with our partners and really understand kind of how this is all going to come together. But particularly on the jackets, knits, we're kind of in the mix with a lot of other people. But on the jackets, I have found that when you go, and this is without, like we're a newer brand, so this is without like Armani behind you, right? So granted, without that kind of brand kind of platform to stand on. So with that in mind, when you go into like what I have found, like $600 plus, more or less $650 plus, you get into this conversation where, especially for the first time purchase, people start to realize like, this is an investment, which it always is, but I want to try it on first. And like that's really interesting. Around that sweet spot of the $500 mark, give or take, we have found that people are willing to give us a shot, and then we hopefully we always exceed expectations. But like that is something, and it's interesting because if you go less than like probably 300, 350, people don't believe it's real. Like there's no way it could be that nice with like, they're like, you know what I mean? But not that we can even afford to do that with our marches, but they would be like, that's fake leather, right? So it's like this weird, like you can't go too low because then people are like, we're using real leather. There's no way you can make a jacket that nice at that price, which is, I mean, you'd have to do an incredible amount of units. But so it's kind of funny, like testing and understanding that. We have found this sweet spot for us where, look, we get messages quite often where people are asking if they can come in and try it on. With COVID and other things, it's kind of limited our ability to have that interaction. But ultimately, it's kind of a fun place to play that 450, 500, it just opens the door for conversation, and obviously the free shipping, free returns, that just allows people to have a little bit more comfort around the purchase. But yeah, hopefully that helps you.
Oh yeah, I love it. Ty, I'll let you ask your final question. I'm hopping back.
Yeah. So I think we talked a little bit about what's next, possibly moving into women's clothes, going international, which is amazing. The final question I have for you is what would you do differently? Like knowing what you know now, you spent a lot of time building your brand, researching, etc. If you were to start anew, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I think it's a tough. You know what? We invested in. We're talking. I personally, I guess, invested in thousands of dollars because I've made some money through my professional career, which is fun this business. So, I spent a lot of money on like trademarks. Now, granted, now looking back on it, because of where we are, where we're going, like those trademarks could cost us a lot more later if we didn't do that. At the time, I think that was a terrible investment. But my point being is, I think, and where I'm going with this is that we basically I worked for a big company before I left. I always appreciated the scalability. I mean, I'm a big dreamer when it comes to having a team, and that like I enjoy that. I find that those people give me energy. And so my point being is like I never wanted to be a mom and pop shop. I never wanted, like, we have dreams to be a $1 billion business in 10 years. Like that is what we are working towards. And we have that, like, we want to get into a hotel. Like there's some things that like I would love to see kind of the progression, right? Take the, and so my point being is just with all of that in mind, you also have to understand you don't start that way. And so when you have those big dreams, you have to dial it back in terms of your decision making. You have to be a dreamer, but you also have to understand that from 1 to 100, there's 99 or 98 or 99 steps in between that take you all the way to that. And those brands have gone through it. So to look at All Saints and try to even replicate some of the things that they may be doing correctly or incorrectly or build off of, you don't have the complete picture because there's so much infrastructure, so much overhead. You can be more nimble. You can be quicker to market. You don't have the scalability in some areas. You can't afford to do certain things. Like we can't finance the amount of inventory needed. Like we would be in a much healthier, even if we could just finance, the over, multiple 7 figures we probably need in inventory at this moment to kind of build. And so those kind of things are earned. They're learned. And you just can't expedite that. And you also can't live in that mindset of always not even comparing, but trying to be like you should want to be your own brand and better than what's out there, and try to limit kind of how much energy you spend trying to always understand what like the biggest players in the world are doing, because I get that's what you want to become. We all, after college, we all want to work for Nike. We all want to work for, but like most of us end up at companies we've never heard of before. Yeah. And like you eventually could end up at Nike and you work your way up, but like there's all these steps in your career path to get there to be the marketing manager for Nike. And my point being is the same thing with a brand. Like you could end up, you look at Gymshark and these brands that are in a very short amount of time have just changed the entire landscape of a specific product vertical within retail. But you also have to respect what they've done. And in that respect, be humble, focus on what you need to do in the short term, think 1, 2, 3 steps ahead, plus the 10 steps ahead, so that you're building towards that. But that does not happen overnight. That does not, some people hopefully have that success. I wish them the well. It hasn't happened for us. But, but in that regard, I'd say, manage the dreams versus reality. And in that capacity, like we spent tens of thousands of dollars on trademarks way too soon, where that could have been great value for inventory. Yeah. And then the last thing I finish with is inventory is king. At the end of the day, look, we're talking customer service, and I can't wait to double down on customer service. Website, we have a huge project going on, multiple projects going on there. Operationally, we've done some amazing things to kind of streamline logistics and more importantly, marketing is always an ongoing conversation. All of those can be absolutely first class, world class. And if I have no product to sell, we make no money. So the reality of it is that you have to put more emphasis on inventory. Now it's a game, right? You don't, especially out of the gate, you don't know what the customer feedback is going to be, and you want to put the best product out there, but you don't always know if you did it right? We've had multiple iterations of our jackets to get them where they are today, whether it's a cuff that needed to be shortened, a certain zipper that needed to be a little bit bigger, whatever it may be. But my point being is, at the end of the day, it's a healthy balance that you have to find, because you can invest in all these other areas and create the most amazing experience, but there's only one jacket, you're creating that whole experience for one customer. So in order to kind of finance all of those experiences, plus obviously create kind of the realm and community that you want, you have to have product. And that's something that we got out of the gate hot last fall, and that was a very hard lesson learned, because it went amazingly well, much more so like within 6 weeks, well over 6 figures. And it just like, but we didn't forecast for that on the inventory side. And so all of a sudden we had to rebuild, change the entire production model, financing model to really support what we know we can accomplish this year.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you so much. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
No, this was really good. It's been really great working with Cadigan. He's like really on top of his stuff, and you can tell that he really cares a lot about the experience that he's delivering for his clientele. So yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Yeah, of course.
It's been great having you both here. I love hearing brand stories like this. It just makes me think about it makes me think about two things. I think I gain a little bit more hope for humanity and hope for e-commerce when I hear stories of brands that start by caring for their customers and start with core values, because of course there is a dark side to e-commerce and a lot of brands that were really out to just like hustle somebody out of a dollar. I think that was the trend about 10 years ago that e-commerce is kind of coming out of now. When we launch digitally native vertical brands such as yours and prove value, we're also getting rid of that stigma of the past. And so and this is what will propel e-commerce forward. So you're just a part of a beautiful system of taking us to the next level. And Ty, always you're showing us how the value of caring about the customer is what should it be first and foremost for everyone. So thank you both for being here. We're going to close it out after this. So I'll let you guys go, and then I have some closing words for everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you again.
Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your time.
All right. Take this off, put my own face on, I guess. Hey, it's me. That was it. That's the whole event, 2 days. Oh my gosh. How many speakers was it? Over 20 speakers. We got to hear from amazing brands. We got to hear from the most unique tech showcases I think we've ever had. And then we heard from our sponsors. And I think you can see this process of laying out customer service, customer value, thinking about the relationship that you have, continuing to grow the relationship with customers and make them feel welcome. And then the same thing is true for influencers, right? Making real relationships with influencers, being authentic about that connection, and having, as Leslie put in an earlier interview, having them drive the conversation and say, hey, I would love to, try on your product or wear it, as opposed to saying, hey, I'll give you this product for free. Please put it on. Jay Anderson says, thank you. Thanks for joining me for both days. Jay, it's been great having you and everybody else here live. And if you're watching on demand, thank you as well. Mike Greenway says, thank you. I got nothing else for you. If you are, if your store is set up running, you're getting good sales, but you're wondering what's next in e-commerce. Of course, we showcase some great tools for you today. I would be happy to talk to you about that roadmap of tech tools and when to implement Buy With and when to implement Bates AR tool and so forth and so on, to really make sure that you're rolling these things out properly in the business. You just heard Cadigan say he invested in trademarking too early. Well, I see the exact same kind of thing happening in technology all the time. So I'd be happy to help you put on the brakes on some things while accelerating the gas pedal on other things. Maybe it's email or SMS or loyalty programs, some of the more fine-tuned and core components to your store. Thanks again to our sponsors, Gorgeous, LTV Plus, and Recart. I hope to see you guys at another event. Our next event is AI, artificial intelligence. We're going to go deeper into that. I think we're going to have a couple of our tech showcases from this back, because there are just some really amazing AI tools that we saw recently. That's it from me. Thanks so much. I will see you guys next time.